Chapter 1268. In the desolate spirit world, there were thunderous booms everywhere. The battle between the two titan branches could almost be described as earth-shattering. Beams of spiritual power surged between the heavens and the earth. Even the demon world's Mara army could not intervene at all. They could only be killed. Woo, 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 amidst the loud sound of steam, a titan was swept into the sky by countless winged Mara. He tried to shake his arms, but it was of no use. However, just as a group of winged Mara was feeling smug, the carapace on the titan's head suddenly bloomed. Suddenly, a ball of flames soared into the sky, burning the Mara into ashes. Its huge body also broke free from Mara's control. It waved a battle axe and charged toward the ground. What a powerful titan! With the god-destroying pagoda in hand, Ziyan's figure changed in the air. His palm was filled with demonic flames, and he struck the titan's back fiercely. Instantly, the fiery red palm print melted the armor on the titan's back, but it could not melt the special shield inside. The shield was like a wave of water, completely eliminating the power of Ziyan's palm. Woo, woo, amidst the mechanical sound, the titan suddenly turned around, and the battle axe turned into a bolt of lightning and slashed toward Ziyan. In an instant, there was no way for Ziyan to dodge. He raised his palm and condensed a shield. Pang! The demonic flames light surged. The titan's attack was powerful, and it actually blasted Ziyan away by more than 100 meters. Your Majesty, are you all right? Bai Feng led a group of demon generals and rushed over. He pulled out his sword and said, "Go, kill this titan. Attack together." Wait. However, Ziyan had a playful look on his face. He smiled and said, "I'm just playing with this titan. Don't interfere. He's mine. Watch how I cut him into pieces." As he said that, Ziyan rushed forward again. This time, his aura was even stronger, carrying the might of the demon realm. An invisible airwave crushed down. Before he could even reach the titan, the mecha in front of the titan's chest continuously exploded. It was actually unable to withstand Ziyan's domain and exploded. However, a centipede would not fall down even if it died. The strength of the titan lay in its extremely strong vitality. Its body was almost in ruins, but it still raised its battle axe fiercely and threw it out. Immediately, the huge battle axe turned into a bolt of lightning and went straight for Ziyan's face. Melt for me. Ziyan continued to move forward. A ball of devil flames appeared in front of him, burning his battle axe red. In the blink of an eye, it turned into molten iron that filled the sky. As expected, in terms of absolute power, he could easily kill a titan with medium strength even without using the god-destroying tower. Boom! They collided head-on. An azure heart appeared in Ziyan's hand. It was the titan's heart. In the sky, the titan lost its energy source and fell into the darkness of the ground with a miserable cry. However, Ziyan activated the firepower in his palm and burned the heart until nothing was left. He said, "Order the Mara army to continue attacking. Don't give Elder Tai Lan's branch any chance to take a breather." "Yes, Your Majesty." In the sky, countless Mara soldiers charged towards the ground like rain. There, pools of flames soared into the sky. There were titans fighting and killing each other everywhere. Boom! Metal staff against Warhammer. Tai Lan against Lei Luan. The fiery red metal staff forcefully swept away the warhammer. Tai Lan roared in anger and kicked Lei Luan's abdomen heavily. In terms of battle prowess, Lei Luan, the leader of the branch, was no match for Tai Lan. However, Lei Luan had a helper this time. Just as Tai Lan kicked Lei Luan away, a golden light flickered in the sky. An unparalleled expert descended from the sky. His palms were filled with profound energy and he slammed them onto Elder Tai Lan's head. Yua, Elder Tai Lan let out a long howl towards the sky. Blood-red liquid spurted out from his mouth and nose. His body was still trembling, but he did not collapse. Instead, he raised his metal staff and swept it across the sky. His divine energy turned into a surface, as though he was spreading out a huge net to hunt down the attacker. However, how could Aelios be hunted down so easily? He clenched his palms into fists and bent his body slightly in the air. His entire body was like a taut bowstring as he suddenly flew forward. With a biting cold profound energy, he directly broke through Tai Lan's blockade. While he was in the air, he turned around and unleashed a combination of punches from a distance. Almost all of the punches landed on Tai Lan's body, causing the defensive energy on the surface of Elder Tai Lan's body to be on the verge of collapsing. Roar! With a low roar, Elder Tai Lan opened his palms, and roaring flames baptized Aelios in the air. Aelios had no choice but to convert his divine energy into a shield and forcefully block Elder Tai Lan's attack in the air. Through the light screen, one could see that Aelios' forehead was filled with veins. Evidently, even the gods of the sky beyond Avalon might not be Elder Tai Lan's match. "Who are you?" Tai Lan shouted in a low voice, "The power of the law that you are using does not belong to this world. Who exactly are you?" Aelios crossed his arms in front of his chest to block the invasion of the flames. He chuckled and said, "Old man, if you still have normal intelligence, shouldn't you have already guessed it? If I do not belong to this world, then I belong to another world. The world where the Olympian gods are. Have you already forgotten about it? Ha ha ha. You scum." Elder Tai Lan seemed to have sensed something and shouted in a low voice, "Even though we, the Titans, are eternal enemies with the Olympians, we will not betray our own race. It seems like you and Lei Luan are the same kind of people. For status and power, you would rather betray your own race. They are not my race, and they have never treated me as one," Aelios sneered. "On the other hand, you pitiful old thing. The Titan race has already been suppressed to a corner of the world. Instead of thinking about your race, you still want to follow the order of the world. People like you are not fit to be the leader of the Titan race. Come, let me end your life and let a suitable person be the leader of the Titan race." Tui! Elder Tai Lan roared in anger, but he was already powerless. Aelios was gradually escaping from the range of the spiritual flames. Whoosh! In the sky, a figure swooped down and slammed heavily into Aelios' body, crushing him into the mountain. It was a Titan warrior from the Tyrannosaurus branch, but he was no match for Aelios. In the blink of an eye, there was a rumbling explosion from within the mountain, and the Titan's broken limbs flew into the air. It was a tragic sight to behold. Elder Tai Lan looked at the ground with a gloomy expression. He lightly hit the ground with his iron staff, and suddenly, a wave of energy spread along the ground. He said in a low voice, "Warriors of the Titan race, Lei Luan has betrayed our race. He colluded with the traitors of Olympus to kill our people. Fight! Fight to the last man, and let the world know the endless courage of the Titan race. We will never surrender, and we will only fight until the day our race is exterminated." Roar! One by one, the Titans roared, and the sound of battle became more and more deafening. In the air, the flying Mara was everywhere like a fly. A group of holy king and demon generals surrounded the Titans and attacked them fiercely. As the saying went, many ants could bite an elephant to death. As the battle continued, the Titans fell one after another. Swoosh! The green flames in the sky were reflected in Elder Tai Lan's blue eyes. He looked at his people falling one after another, and his expression was indescribably sorrowful. Not far away, Lei Luan and dozens of Titans, as well as Aelios in the air, were staring at him and the hundreds of guards behind him. These Titan guards were the most elite warriors of the race. If they died in battle, the last hope of the Titan race would vanish together with them. "Warriors, attack!" Elder Tai Lan pointed his iron staff forward, and his voice trembled as he roared. However, at this moment, a golden light descended from the sky. His palm was filled with the golden-red power of the AO sword technique. He raised his hand and launched an invisible attack. Heaven and earth, listen to my command. Bang! A large group of demon generals and titans were crushed into the rock stratum by the sword intent and the invisible elephant. The rumbling sound was endless, and many demon generals even died just like that. That person was dressed in majestic armor, and the cloak that belonged to an upright god fluttered in the wind. His figure was extremely handsome and very familiar. Elder Tai Lan. Lin Muyu turned around and said, "We're here. Do you want to fight alongside the divine realm?" Behind him, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, Xiao, Feng Jixing, and the others, wrapped in golden light, landed on the ground one after another. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of upright gods had landed in the valley. In addition, there were many gods rushing over with awe-inspiring aura. In the blink of an eye, the valley that was filled with violence and demonic aura was filled with a tranquil and peaceful Mahayana heavenly Tao aura. Elder Tai Lan leaned on his iron staff and muttered, "It's the martial god. I'm sorry, please forgive my race's arrogance in the past. I, Tai Lan, represent the entire Titan race and promise to fight alongside you." "Yes." Lin Muyu nodded heavily, and the Xianyuan sword in her hand shone brightly. She turned to look at Mara and the titans in the valley, and said, "Let's fight." Figures flew over. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had already joined the battle at the first instance. Their main mission was to assist the titans of the tyrant race to defeat the opposing titans. Moreover, it was very easy to tell them apart. The titans of the tyrant race maintained their original nature, and their eyes were azure blue. However, the Thunderluan race had already fallen into the heavenly Tao of massacre, and their eyes were already blood-red. "Who are you?" The 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his head and looked at Aelios, who was in the sky. Aelios also looked at the 7 luminaries demon emperor and felt the monstrous power of the 7 luminaries demon emperor. He said, "I'm Aelios, one of the 12 elephant gods of the realm beyond Avalon." "Who are you?" The 7 luminaries demon emperor chuckled, and the Pangu axe in his hand spun rapidly. He said, "So you're just a god that does odd jobs in the realm beyond Avalon. I was wondering who you were." "Heh, who exactly are you? Why are you speaking so rudely?" "I'm the godly king of the 6 realms, and I'll definitely be a king in the realm beyond Avalon. Remember my name, I'm..." The 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his Pangu axe in the air, and his aura filled the sky. However, he suddenly stopped, and his brows furrowed tightly. His eyes were filled with seriousness. "What's my name again?" Motherf ****, the damn author forgot to give me a proper name from the start. "Then, I'll call you Grandpa. Take a hit from your grandpa's axe first." Chapter 1269. Buzz buzz buzz, the light of the Xianyuan sword was unusually blazing. Lin Muyu looked at the thousands of Mara in the air with a murderous intent. She raised her hand and struck lightly. Suddenly, the sword essence of the AO sword technique swept across the air like a golden flood. How could the Mara still attack? Even Bai Feng Holy King could not help but retreat to avoid the power of the AO sword technique. Lin Muyu's voice condensed into a thread and said to Ria, who was not far behind her, "According to the plan, I will attract Ziyan's attention. Ria, you steal the god's destroying tower. Remember, run when you succeed. Even if you can't, I will cover you." "Got it, master." Ria was like a shadow that flickered in the wind. Her speed had reached the extreme. Lin Muyu stepped on the flames and walked towards Ziyan and the others. Her eyes stopped on a group of demon gods on the left. There were many superior deities and intermediate deities. She could not help but laugh. "Are you the demon gods who ascended from the 6 realms?" Everyone looked at the martial god whom they had never seen before and did not dare to be negligent. One of the superior demon gods said, "Yes, what do you want?" "Nothing much. Subduing demons. You are demons, so you have to be killed. Lin Muyu suddenly stepped heavily in the void. Suddenly, time and space seemed to freeze with a bang. The group of demon gods could not move. Lin Muyu's right hand slowly opened. The full power of the AO sword technique and the full power of the holy martial arts were released. With a roar, thousands of swords flew and rushed towards the group of demon gods like a river. Ah ah ah, the screams were endless. The intermediate deities and lower deities with weaker cultivation were directly killed by the sword essence. The stronger superior deities relied on the demon flame shield to hold on a little, but how long could they last? Lin Muyu. Ziyan roared. When he was about to attack, Lin Muyu turned around and looked at him. She raised her right arm gently and when it fell, it was a full power of the AO sword technique. Ah! While Ziyan was in a daze, countless Mara, devil generals, and holy king rushed over and shouted, "Kill the martial god and protect his majesty, ancestor emperor." However, in the midst of the demon horde, a graceful figure flashed past like lightning. Ria's speed was so fast that everything in her eyes seemed to slow down. With the full activation of light hunting, she had turned into a beam of light as she passed through the holy king and the demon generals. When she came before Ziyan, she realized that the king of the demon realm was actually quite handsome. His eyes were blue, and his nose was tall and big. Even the hair on his nose made him look handsome. Looking up at Ziyan's face, Ria raised her hand and punched Ziyan's chin. Pa! Ziyan gradually raised his head. At the same time, his hand loosened a little. Ria quickly grabbed the god-destroying tower and used all her strength to snatch it from Ziyan's hand. Ah, it's so hot. The god-destroying tower was filled with demonic flames, so it was naturally very hot. Ria endured the pain of her palm being burned and rushed back as if she was holding a stove. She shouted, "Master, save me." When Ziyan came back to his senses, his hand was already empty. He only saw the figure of a young girl running away. He suddenly flew into a rage out of humiliation and roared, "Steal my god-destroying tower? You're courting death." Just at the moment when Ziyan rushed over, there was a loud explosion in front of him. Dozens of devil generals were instantly crushed. The golden light surged. It was Lin Muyu. Lin Muyu was covered with the power of the AO sword tactics. "Ria, give it to me." He turned around and took the god-destroying tower from Ria's hand. He aimed the bottom of the tower at Ziyan and shouted, "God-destroying tower, destroy him for me." In an instant, the air froze. The number 1 artifact of the devil realm was used to kill the king of the devil realm. Who could believe it? However, the god-destroying tower was only howling with demonic flames. There was no movement at all. Not even a flame was spat out, let alone a beam of light to kill Ziyan. Ha ha ha, Ziyan's tears were about to fall. "Lin Muyu, you idiot. Only the demonic aura of the devil realm can activate the god-destroying tower. You are a Mahayana Heaven Dao's main god. If even you can use the god-destroying tower, can this god-destroying tower still be the number 1 artifact of the devil realm?" Lin Muyu's eyes became cold. She was angry, she was angry. Swish! The god-destroying tower that Ria had painstakingly retrieved was thrown into the air to Ziyan. She said, "Since I am useless, I will return it to you. Take it." What? Ziyan was so astonished that he almost spat out his tongue. How could there be such a good thing in this world? The god-destroying tower could actually be recovered? In an instant, Ziyan opened up his arms. It was as though he had seen his long-lost girlfriend. His face was filled with an intoxicated expression. He opened up his arms and his body was like the wind. He embraced nature and his entire body became slow motion. However, just as Ziyan was in slow motion, there was a sudden clang. A golden light sliced out from the center of the god-destroying tower. It was the Xianyuan sword. The god-destroying tower was split into two. Without the protection of the demonic flames, the god-destroying tower naturally couldn't block the Xianyuan sword that Lin Muyu was holding. Not only that, Lin Muyu's sword skills were incomparably sharp. She swung her sword more than 10 times in the air. She completed this series of actions in almost a second. Golden lines interweaved together and formed a very beautiful picture. Under the division of this picture, the god-destroying tower became even more pieces. There were so many that it was impossible to count. The pieces of the tower started to burn. The number 1 artifact of the Devil Realm was finally destroyed. Ziyan's tears were about to come out. He felt as though he had suffered a ton of soul attacks. He stood in the wind in a daze and muttered, "Why did you do this, why?" Lin Muyu didn't say anything. She raised her sword and exerted strength in her feet. She rushed over at lightning speed and slashed with the Xianyuan sword. Kacha! The sword landed on a rusty steel arm. It was a titan who saved Ziyan's life. "Ziyan, are you crazy?" Lei Luan shouted from afar, "Have you forgotten that you are the master of the Devil Realm? Attack, command your men to attack. We still have the absolute advantage. Attack!" Ziyan still looked at the god-destroying tower floating in the air. It was as though he had seen his beloved toy being crushed. His tears flowed down uncontrollably. The god-destroying tower is gone. What else can the Devil Realm use to participate in the battle? Retreat, retreat, return to the Devil Realm. Ancestor Emperor, Bai Feng was stunned. The group of superior demon gods also stood there dumbfounded. "Didn't you hear my orders?" Ziyan looked up at Bai Feng. Bai Feng's silver teeth shouted, "Retreat, return. Demon Realm." Her voice reverberated in the air, and in the blink of an eye, it caused the Devil Realm's army to be routed. Like rain, they were sent flying back into the sky. Those Devil Luos and Devil Generals probably wanted to return to the Devil Realm long ago. At the very least, they wouldn't be killed in the Devil Realm. However, in the Immortal Realm, the enemies they had to face were top-tier powerhouses like the Martial God, Mad God, and Moon Goddess. They wouldn't even be able to touch a strand of their hair before being slaughtered. This bunch of cowards, they ran away. Lei Luan roared. The Devil Realm had a direction to retreat to. They still had their homes. But Lei Luan's Titan branch was gone. Their whereabouts had been exposed. They could only fight. In the sky, beams of light flew over. The gods of the Western Divine Realm had arrived. Buzz! Xian's sword light was bitingly cold as she descended from the sky and smashed a titan into smithereens. This could be considered a greeting gift. Looking at the mountain range, the gods of the Eastern Divine Realm and the titans were engaged in a fierce battle. In fact, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing and the others were already feeling extremely pressured if they had to fight 1 against 2 or 3. Elder Tai Lan's clan had lost too many titans. There were less than 1,000 of them left. On the other hand, Lei Luan still had close to 3,000 titan warriors. He still had the upper hand. Lin Muyu spread her arms, and the power of the Holy Martial covered the entire mountain range. She said to the sky, "Sister Xian, hit the red-eyed titans. Don't hit the wrong ones. Hurry up and help." "Got it. I can feel the evil aura on them." Xian was a seraph. Distinguishing between good and evil was a piece of cake for her. With the addition of the battle angels, the battle between the two sides returned to a balanced state. Lin Muyu didn't fight a titan alone. Instead, she moved through the crowd and used the sharpness of the Xianyuan sword to launch sneak attacks. She killed 1 titan with each strike. Not long after, the 7 luminaries demon emperor appeared in the sky. His cloak was stained with blood. Demon Emperor, are you injured? Xiao asked. No. It's the blood of that idiot Alios. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor waved his cloak and said, that useless Alios has already escaped to the sky beyond heaven. Let's continue and quickly finish the battle here. Okay. The fierce battle lasted for almost an entire day. When the sun set on the second day, there were less than 2,000 Titan warriors under Lei Luan's command. However, it was still a lot more than Elder Tai Lan's branch. The Celestial Realm had also paid a heavy price. Both the Eastern and Western Celestial Realms had lost many righteous gods. There were even a few intermediate gods who had fallen in the fierce battle. In the sky, a cold aura attacked. Dozens of gods descended from the sky. The one leading them was the divine king of the Northern Heaven Realm, Dongming. Wherever Dongming passed, everything was covered with a layer of frost. This god Dong really lived up to his name. 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, you seem to be injured? Dongming started to taunt him the moment he arrived. No, it's someone else's blood. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor mocked back, yo, the Northern Heaven Realm came just in time. Dongming, are you here to help us clean up the battlefield? Who said that? Did you think it was easy for us to come all the way here? You didn't even send a single signal to the Northern Heaven Realm. Are you looking down on us allies? It's nothing. Here, there are still hundreds of evil titans in the valley. Bring your men to help. Okay. Oh, damn, why are these titans so powerful? The gods. Chapter 1270. Amidst the rumbling of thunder, a huge space tunnel appeared in front of them. Lei Luan led the titans to flee, leaving behind thousands of titan corpses. This battle could be said to be a crushing defeat. 5,000 titans had fought against 3,000, but they had still lost so completely. After this battle, the Lei Luan tribe's strength was far from what it used to be. In the valley, figures gradually rose. They were the gods of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Many of them were carrying the corpses of their companions. The losses in this battle could not be underestimated. How many of us died? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor carried the blood-stained Pangu axe. His face had a few cuts from the Titan's blades, and he looked slightly haggard and exhausted. Feng Jixing specialized in combat. After evaporating the blood on his blades, he quickly sheathed them and said, 21 untitled gods and 7 middle gods perished, including the god of tides, ancient Han, and the god of contracts, flowing Kuei. So many people. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor frowned and said, take their bodies back to the Eastern Divine Realm and bury them. You, go ask the Titans what they plan to do next. If they are willing, we will give them a few spirit mountains to recuperate. Yes. Lin Muyu raised her hand and returned the Xianyuan sword to its sheath. She glided down and landed in front of Elder Tai Lan and the other Titan warriors. She said respectfully, Elder Tai Lan. Tyron held onto his blood-stained metal staff, and his gaze was deep. He said in a trembling voice, Martial God, thank you for your help. Otherwise, today would have been the day of our Titan tribe's destruction. They have changed. Lei Luan and the others have completely fallen. Now, they are demons. They are no longer the Titan gods that protect the earth. Too much desire will naturally cause one to fall into the abyss. Lin Muyu said, what do you plan to do after this? After this battle, the sky beyond Avalon, the Devil Realm, and Lei Luan will definitely not let us off. If we are united, we will be strong, and if we are divided, we will be weak. If Elder Tai Lan is willing, the Eastern God Realm is willing to allocate a few spirit mountains for the Titan clan to rest and recuperate. The Eastern God Realm is rich in spiritual energy, and your injured Titan clan will be able to recover very quickly. You can even cultivate in the Eastern God Realm. Elder Tai Lan looked deeply at Lin Muyu and asked, can the Titan race trust the martial god? Lin Muyu smiled and spread her hands. We'll fight side by side and live and die together. What do you think? I saw it, Elder Tai Lon said unhurriedly. I've seen many gods die in battle for our race. They are still very young, and many of them are just children. Since ancient times, good and evil have never coexisted, and the deity realm still represents justice in the world. As for our Titan race, we are merely the losers and exiled. We no longer have the qualifications to be ranked in the deity realm. No. Lin Muyu shook her head and smiled. The current ruler of the deity realm is us. If we say that the Titan race has it, then it does. I've seen the Titan's bravery and fearlessness in this battle. All of you believe in the righteous path and are firm in your beliefs. The Titan race definitely shouldn't be exiled. As long as Elder is willing, the door to the Eastern deity realm will always be open to you. Elder Tai Lan's azure eyes flickered a few times. After a long period of silence, his trembling body suddenly knelt down and placed his metal staff horizontally on the ground in front of him. He said, "The Titan race is willing to join the Eastern deity realm and is willing to fight for the righteous path. I beg the martial god to take us in." Lin Muyu was a little moved. She flew down and held Elder Tai Lan's huge arm. She said sincerely, "Elder, you don't have to be so polite. You're already a branch of the Eastern deity realm. I'll give you the spirit mountain with the most vigorous spiritual energy." Yes, Tai Lon raised his head and said, Can we move the Void Realm's hangar to the deity realm? This is the foundation of your survival. Of course, you can. Thank you, martial god. The group of titans knelt down one after another. The rumbling of the mechs was continuous. There were less than 1,000 titans left, but it was enough. They were already a very strong force. With the addition of Tai Lan's branch, the overall strength of the Eastern deity realm had also greatly increased. At the very least, the Devil realm was no longer qualified to covet the rule of the Eastern divine realm. If Ziyan really came, it would probably be difficult for him to return alive. There were too many people who wanted his life. 3 days later, nearly 1,000 titans moved to the Eastern deity realm. Their residence was less than 100 miles away from Mount Dashang. This allowed Mount Dashang, Luoyan Mountain, and the Titan tribe to form a triangle. At that time, the Eastern deity realm was naturally at its peak. None of the 4 major divine realms could contend against it. At night, there was a banquet on Mount Dashang. Nearly 100 gods from the Western Divine Realm, Southern Divine Realm, and Northern Divine Realm were invited to participate. No one knew what the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor was up to. In any case, Shi Yan, Eva, Dong Ming, Terralin, and the others had all fallen. There was also a group of gloomy gods from the Southern Divine Realm. They cultivated the law of darkness and seemed to always have a gloomy expression. At the banquet, Qin Yin and Terralin chatted, while Shi Yan asked Lin Muyu for advice on the profound meaning of the proud sword art. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Dong Ming bragged, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 different dishes, a god from the Southern God realm stood up. It was Thunder God Luo, one of the few experts in the Southern God realm. He bowed and said, 7 luminaries monarch, may I ask what kind of important matter the Eastern God realm has invited us to discuss? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor smiled slightly. Thunder God is in such a hurry? I was planning to announce it after the banquet. Since Thunder God has asked, it doesn't matter if I say it in advance. As he said this, he stood up majestically and said, as everyone knows, the tens of millions of troops of the Devil realm have been attacking the God realm for a long time. However, in the battle of the Desolate Spirit realm 3 days ago, the Devil realm was defeated and fled. Even Ziyan's god-destroying tower was destroyed by our martial god Lin Muyu. The Devil realm is now in decline, but there is still a force. The Thunder Luan clan still has nearly 2,000 titans. They are destroying spirit mountains everywhere to obtain spirit energy to strengthen themselves. Luo Wen smiled. We have all heard about the battle of the desolate spirit realm. However, it seems like the 7 luminaries demon emperor is taking credit for the eastern deity realm. We all know how strong the eastern deity realm is, but, under the Mahayana heavenly law, all the gods are equal. Even if the emperor wants to take credit, I'm afraid it won't be of any use, right? The 7 brilliance demon monarch could not help but let out a laugh. The southern celestial world has been laying low all this time. You never even participated in the battles against the demon world. Your bones were so soft when you were in Ziyan's god-destroying tower, but, why are your bones so tough when you're in my Mount Great Accomplishment? You, the southern god realm gods beside Luo Wen revealed expressions of anger. They almost slammed the table and stood up. The 7 luminaries demon emperor continued, don't worry, Thunder God. I didn't invite you to this banquet to take credit. I just want to tell you that something has happened to the sky beyond heaven. The sky beyond heaven? Luo Wen said indifferently, isn't the sky beyond heaven guarded by Ancestor Pangu? What could possibly happen to it? The 7 luminaries demon emperor frowned and said, Ancestor Pangu isn't omnipotent, and the sky beyond heaven is very complicated. The eastern god is one of them, the gods of Olympus are another, and there are also some ancient ancestor gods and dragon martial gods. There are at least 10 forces in the sky beyond heaven, and the strongest among them is Olympus. As far as I know, there's already a traitor in Olympus. What do you mean? The meaning is clear. Once Olympus is controlled, the gods of the sky beyond heaven will lose their position. This is no longer just a war between the 6 realms, but a large-scale war between good and evil. Luo Wen smiled, war between good and evil. Aren't you exaggerating a little too much? The gods of the sky beyond heaven have ascended for a long time, and their power and status are already deeply rooted. How can they be shaken by 1 or 2 traitors? What if this traitor brings 2,000 Titan giants to the war? The 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his eyebrows and said, we all know how strong the Titan giants are. That Lei Luan destroyed countless spirit mountains to absorb spirit energy for his own use, and his strength is close to that of the ancestor of the sky beyond heaven. Once these 2,000 Titan giants join the war, I'm afraid the balance in the sky beyond heaven will be broken immediately. When that happens, it will be too late. Forget your puny southern god realm, even the 6 realms might not be able to protect themselves. That's why we feel that the 4 realms should form an even tighter alliance and unite as one. Finally, a middle god from the southern god realm slammed the table and stood up angrily, 7 luminaries demon emperor, don't you think you're going too far? We know that the eastern god realm is the strongest, but that doesn't mean you're above us. We, the southern god realm, have always advocated equality, we will never be enslaved by you. The 7 luminaries demon emperor also had a bad temper. He pointed a finger at them and said, fuck your southern god realm, what are you being so arrogant for? I'm already giving you face by inviting you to the alliance, yet you cowardly gods are still clamoring for equality here? I can destroy your entire southern god realm by myself, do I have to do that? Tui, I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. I only mentioned the alliance, I never said I would be your alliance leader. What are you yelling about? Shi Yan couldn't help but smile. She said, it looks like the alliance is not going to work. Lin Muyu frowned and said, why is the southern god realm against it so fiercely? Eva laughed softly, it's simple. The southern god realm is the weakest of the 4 god realms, even weaker than the northern heaven realm. Once the alliance is formed, their status will drop further and further. They definitely won't be able to maintain their current equal status as the 4 god realms. That's why they aren't willing to unite. But in my opinion, Thunder God Luo Wen is most likely behind this. He's the mastermind behind this. Dongming laughed loudly, 7 luminaries demon emperor, you're the divine king, so don't say such vulgar words. The 7 luminaries demon emperor glared at him, then pointed at the 20 or so southern god realm gods and said, once the realm beyond heaven falls into chaos, it will be a catastrophe. No matter which side the realm beyond heaven attacks, we won't be able to stop them. It's up to the southern god realm to decide whether to join the alliance or not, but you'll have to bear the consequences. The thunder god stood up and grabbed a spear beside him. He smiled faintly. In that case, the southern god realm will bid farewell. Take care. Farewell. In the blink of an eye, the people of the southern god realm took to the skies and left Mount Dashang. The 7 luminaries demon emperor sucked in a deep breath and held his knees. He was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He said, they had good intentions, but they messed it up. I'm so angry. Do you think I would covet the position of alliance leader? Chapter 1271. Above the golden ruins, the sky origin. One after another, giant-like titans soared into the sky. At the very front, there was only a small figure. He held a ball of azure energy in his hand and continued to advance. However, the star river of the sky origin was turbulent. Huge rocks covered the sky and covered the earth. However, they were all smashed into pieces when they collided with the energy ball in the man's hand. Among the titans, Lei Luan raised his fire hammer and said in a low voice, "This is the legendary star river origin?" "That's right." Alios, who was charging at the very front, said, "This is the end of the star universe." In the past, countless gods with exceedingly high cultivation comprehended the mysteries of the universe from here and opened up a completely different world. What is it? You'll know very soon. Sweat seeped out of Alios's face, and even his veins were bulging. He raised the energy vortex in his hand and continuously attacked the giant rocks in the universe. Finally, with a crash, he reached the end of the vortex. The messy rocks disappeared without a trace, and what appeared in front of him was an extremely barren world. There was nothing but emptiness, and only flat ground. Nothing else could be seen. Swoosh, 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 one by one, the titans followed Alios into this new world. Lei Luan's tone was somewhat angry. He said, "Alios, what is the meaning of this? Didn't you bring us to the sky beyond Avalon? Why is there no sky beyond Avalon here, only a barren world? This is the sky beyond Avalon." Alios frowned and said, "The divine mountain of the past is right under our feet. It has become a barren land. Let's go. We don't have much time. If we don't speed up, we might not make it in time. Why did you bring us here? This is not the sky beyond Avalon. Elder Lei Luan, you'll know very soon." Alios flew along a low mountain range. Alios glanced at his clansmen, then led them forward. There was no turning back, they could only keep moving forward. More and more hills appeared in front of them, taller and taller. Finally, after crossing a mountain range that was at least 3,000 meters high, a biting cold storm blew towards them from the other side of the mountain range. Even Alios couldn't resist this kind of storm. He couldn't help but cast his divine power to form a circular shield in front of him. However, the dimensional wind blades in the storm continued to cut at the shield. In the blink of an eye, Alios' shield was riddled with holes. "What are you waiting for?" Alios turned around and shouted, "Come here and see what your enemy looks like now." Lei Luan flew over. The storm raged on his body, but the Titan's alloy shell didn't seem to be afraid of this level of dimensional wind. It just kept producing fiery red mini-energy explosions. The other Titans followed Lei Luan and flew over the mountain range. On the other side of the mountain range, the scene shocked them. The entire valley was filled with giant stone statues. These stone statues were at least 20 meters tall. They looked very lifelike. Some were holding spears, some were holding halberds. All of them looked like they were alive. Lei Luan and the other Titans could even feel the powerful energy stored in these stone statues. It was a shocking energy. Who are these people? Lei Luan asked in shock. These are your enemies. Alios' expression was a little calm. This is also the reason why I risked my life to leave the sky beyond Avalon and search for you in the 6 realms. Impossible. Impossible. Lei Luan was shocked. The sky beyond Avalon can't be like this. It can't be like this. You lied to us, you lied to us. Pfft, why would I lie to you? Alios said. The north of the sky beyond Avalon is not what you think it is. The spiritual power here has been exhausted. The gods' desire for power has exceeded the limits of the natural laws. So, the north of the sky beyond Avalon was the first to dry up and become a dead land. The gods thirsted for new spiritual sources, but they didn't want to destroy the order of the 6 realms. So, they chose to erode themselves. As you can see, these people before you. Each one of them is a god. Divine punishment. This is the origin. What, these people are the Olympian gods? Yes, and the descendants of the gods. Alios' eyes were cold. And I am just an exiled god. Today, I came here for the same reason as you, revenge. Lei Luan said calmly, how do you want revenge? Very simple. Alios took a deep breath and said, Zeus and Odin, their bodies have begun to erode, but their god cores are still there. And you titans need their cultivation and god cores. Go, devour the god cores of Zeus and Odin. You will be the new gods. With your ability to devour Spirit Mountain, you will be able to conquer the 6 realms. Lei Luan's arms began to tremble, but he didn't lose his mind. He said, we obtained the inheritance of the gods, but what about you? What benefits do you get? Alios burst into laughter. Me? Don't worry, I won't mistreat myself. After you devour the god cores of the gods, you just need to share some of the energy with me so that I can recover from my injuries. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor injured me, and my injuries are still very painful. To me, the destruction of the gods is my achievement. I just want revenge, I don't want anything else. Lei Luan's eyes darkened. He growled, warriors of the Titans, the time for revenge has come. Destroy the bodies of the gods and extract their god cores. Now. As he spoke, Lei Luan leaped up with his fire hammer and smashed the head of the statue. Then, he opened his fingers and tore open the chest of the statue. As expected, there was a god's core that contained the power of the universe's fire. Lei Luan quickly grabbed it and saw that the god's core was glowing with a deep light as if it contained the power of the entire universe. With a mechanical sound, a mechanical passage opened up in Lei Luan's chest. A mechanical arm reached out, grabbed the god core of Zeus, and placed it on the other side of Lei Luan's heart. Just as the mechanical door in his chest closed, a powerful current of air surged through his body, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. The fire hammer in his hand quickly surged with bolts of lightning. This was the power of Zeus. Ha 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 ha, Lei Luan laughed wildly. Zeus, do you feel it? I'm back, ancestors, the time has come for the Titans to rise again. What are you waiting for, Caxton? Immediately devour Odin's god core. Yes, Chief. Keston was one of the few brave warriors in Lei Luan's branch, and his strength was only slightly below Lei Luan's. He immediately smashed Odin's statue and absorbed its god core into his own body. In an instant, all the Titans began to absorb the god cores of the other gods. The entire north beyond heaven had been reduced to ruins, and even the god cores of the other gods that had been guarding the divine mountain had disappeared. Roar, 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 after obtaining new power, the Titans cheered and roared. Lei Luan's eyes were still dark. He turned to look at Allos and said, why don't you come and take these god cores yourself? Allos, come here. Why are you hiding so far away? Allos shook his head and said, you don't want to see me in the past. Why? Because, Allos slowly flew forward. But when he was about 100 meters away from the statue, a huge red barrier suddenly appeared in the sky and sent him flying. Allo spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the top of the mountain. His face was full of helplessness as he said, "Do you see that? I'm an exiled god. Once I get close to the gods, I'll be attacked by their barriers. On the other hand, you Titans. You're their mortal enemies, but you're not targeted by their barriers." What a joke. Lei Luan calmly looked at Allos and said, "Poor fellow, you really are like a stray dog." Then now, Allos violently coughed a few times and said, "Can you give me a portion of the God Core's energy now? Everyone just needs to give me 1/10, and that will do." "A tenth of the God's energy? Are you daydreaming?" Lei Luan couldn't help but laugh. "You're really delusional. Let me tell you, each of us can only give you 1,000th of the God's energy. What if you don't want it? Then I'm afraid that's not enough for me to heal. I'll only ask one question. 1,000th. Do you want it? If not, I'll send you to see Zeus immediately." Yes, thank you, Elder Lei Luan, for your reward." "Humph." Lei Luan sneered and said loudly, "Warriors of the Titan race, give back 1,000th of your energy to this poor fellow. After all, we need a human follower. Without this lowly person, we wouldn't have made it here and wouldn't have had the chance to take revenge." The group of Titans raised their arms. Immediately, strands of God Core's energy floated into Allo's body. After enduring the overwhelming righteous energy, Allos seemed to be unable to bear it. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his body kept convulsing and trembling. Even his bones seemed to be being reconstructed by the divine energy. Lei Luan said in a low voice, "Poor fellow, when you were exiled, your bones were already taken out. What crime did you commit to receive such a punishment? Did you sleep with Zeus' daughter?" After a long time, Allos lay in a pile of sand, on the verge of death. Lei Luan raised his warhammer and said, "Warriors, prepare to depart. Our journey will not end here." What are you going to do?" Allos asked weakly. Lei Luan said calmly, "This is the north of the realm beyond heaven. We are going to the south to destroy the forces led by Pangu. What, do you have anything else to say?" Allos shook his head and said, "There's no need to go. 2 months ago, the natural sandstorm engulfed the sacred land where Pangu was. Pangu chose to die in meditation to answer to the heavenly Tao. His power permeated the entire plain. Nuwa, Shenong, and the other gods guarded the heavenly sound scroll and went to the even more remote realm beyond heaven. There are only ruins there. You won't be able to find anything." Then, Lei Luan was a little confused. "What can we do even if we obtain such great power?" Allos coughed a few times and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said, "Revenge. Have you forgotten how we came to the realm beyond heaven? It was the new gods of the 6 realms who banished us. If I were you, I would go to the demon realm immediately, destroy Ziyan, and make the entire army of the demon realm yours. That way, the destruction of the 6 realms is just around the corner. As long as the 6 realms are destroyed, you can rebuild the new order. That is when the Titan race will truly rise. Elder Lei Luan, don't you want to be the one to rebuild the race?" Lei Luan stood there in a daze. He was tempted and said, "Then let's go. We will go to the demon realm immediately. Men, bring Allos with us." "No need," Allos waved his hand. "I can't withstand the impact of the time quicksand for now. I need to rest here for a while. Don't worry and attack the demon realm. I will catch up with you." "Humph, let's go." Chapter 1272. Roar. Let's go. Lei Luan let out a low roar, and his huge body flew into the sky like a meteor. He charged straight in the direction he had come from. The nearly 2,000 titans behind him also let out roars. After devouring the divine cores of the gods in the realm beyond heaven, the strength of this group of titans had at least doubled. One could imagine how terrifying they were. In the sand, a sly smile appeared on Aelios' face. He waited until all the titans had left the sky beyond heaven before he laughed and said, "A bunch of idiots. If you can unify the 6 realms with your level of intelligence, then it means that the 6 realms really don't have anyone capable. Do you really think I'm willing to be your underling?" As he spoke, Aelios suddenly slammed his palm down. Immediately, the ground split open, and a bright light shone from the depths of the yellow sand. Upon closer inspection, there was actually a pile of weapons lying there quietly. Aelios raised his palm and smiled faintly. The gods have cultivated for many years. 30% of their power is stored in their weapons. As long as I can refine this divine power, I'll be the strongest in the world. These idiots titans, the 1,000th of the power you gave me came from the gods. This is enough for me to be reborn. As he spoke, he let out a low roar. Immediately, the weapons and equipment in the depths of the earth, including Zeus' lightning and shield, and Odin's lance of eternity, all trembled. Strands of divine power were extracted from the weapons and turned into strands of divine power that seeped into Aelios' body. This time, Aelios' howls were very real. One could imagine the pain his body was in to endure such a vast amount of power. Not long after, Aelios' body started to swell slightly. Even his shoulders and fingertips had black spikes that looked like sharp blades. His eyes turned green, and his long hair suddenly turned white. It was as if he had turned from a god to a demon. As he howled, the sound of his bones cracking became even clearer. Suddenly, a pair of black wings burst out from his back. Power surged, and as they flapped, they turned into lightning and storms that swept in all directions. It was as if the entire beyond heaven was shaking because of this power. Ha ha ha! Aelios roared and laughed maniacally. Aelios roared and laughed maniacally. He looked at the pile of weapons in the ground and said, "Zeus, do you feel it? I now possess the power of all the gods. What can the laws do to me? What can the heavens and earth do to me?" As he spoke, he suddenly opened his hand and swept up all the weapons on the ground. With an incomparably tyrannical force, he kneaded them into a ball and turned them into liquid. Not long after, he pulled out a long spear that was shining with lightning. When he held it in his hand, the awe-inspiring force made him very satisfied. It was neither good nor evil. This was a divine weapon in the world. "I'll call you Thunder." Aelios had a satisfied smile on his face as he said, "Then I'll leave the chaos of the 6 realms to the foolish titans to deal with. As for me, I'll be responsible for purging the remaining gods in the realm beyond heaven. Wuxia Xianxia, I know you're here. Stop hiding and wait for me to take your lives." In the southernmost border of the realm beyond heaven, the original birdsong and fragrant flowers had turned into a barren desert. The sandstorm in the realm beyond heaven had come so quickly that even the power of the gods could not stop it. The barren spiritual power was the most fatal. It weakened the gods and made them lose their original strength. As a result, the gods of the 6 realms that were supported by the heavenly melody scroll were the most powerful. Under the barren desert, in a quiet cave, golden light flowed above the jagged rocks, and a golden scroll slowly turned in the light. It was the heavenly melody scroll that supported the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Beside it, Wuxia sat there quietly with a hint of sorrow in her eyes. She said, "This catastrophe came too quickly. We didn't even have time to help Brother Fushi when he was killed." Wuxia Xianxia closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Suddenly, the green on the ground retracted and seeped into his body. He slowly opened his eyes and said, "As the 3 great ancestral gods, we should have known this day would come. We have protected the Tao for many years, and sacrifice is the only way to achieve Mahayana." Master turned his body into wind, dust, and rain, and he understood the heavenly Tao of sacrifice. Brother Fushi died for the heavenly Tao above the gold realm. This is his good fortune, why should we force it? Nuwa asked, what did you see? Destruction, Shino sighed and said, just as Master said, the once prosperous realm beyond heaven cannot escape this disaster. Now, the realm beyond heaven has become a wasteland, and its spiritual power has weakened. It cannot be compared to the prosperity of the 6 realms. Nuwa, we can't stay here for long. I can sense the death of the gods in the north, and an evil force has been reborn. If it finds this place, I'm afraid we will all be in trouble. Where to? To bring the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms and seek the protection of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana. The heavenly sound scroll gave birth to the heavenly Tao of Mahayana, and the heavenly Tao of Mahayana protects the heavenly sound scroll. This is just like Master's prophecy. What do you think? Nuwa frowned and said, Brother Fushi and I were originally one. Now that he is dead, my power has been greatly reduced. Now, I can only use 30% of my power. I'm afraid I can't send the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. You don't have to worry about that. Shino smiled faintly, although my power is weak, I still have the ability to send you and the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. Don't forget, I have understood the secret of life many years ago. Nuwa was stunned. But Shino was already chanting, and green spiritual power quickly engulfed Nuwa and the heavenly sound scroll. In an instant, the ground trembled, and Nuwa was shocked. No. You can't sacrifice yourself. For the sake of righteousness. Shino shouted, and his palm slammed down on the spatial wall. Nuwa and the heavenly sound scroll fell into the endless void, while Shino sat in the cave, his body covered in a layer of gray rock. He was gradually petrifying, and like the gods of the north, he actually laughed and said, the secret of life is to live and die and perish. What is there to pity, what is there to sigh about, what is there to talk about? When the last breath left, Shino's body was completely reduced to a piece of rock, and the cave also collapsed and was buried by the yellow sand. Who knew how many myths and legends were buried under the ground that were praised and pursued by the world? Boom! The whole sky started to rumble, and waves of Sanskrit chants echoed in the ears. The whole sky turned into a golden light, and countless words spread out in the air. This was the sign of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana becoming a god. Ah! Lin Muyu and Ria flew up from the Luoyan mountain, and soon, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, and the rest all flew over. What, who's ascending? Ziyao was shocked. It doesn't look like someone is ascending, but the entire heavenly Tao of Mahayana seems to have moved. Qin Yin's sense of order was far better than anyone else's, and she had already sensed that the heavenly Tao of Mahayana had moved from another plane to the 6 realms. Look, who's that? Wei Chou pointed into the distance. In the sky, a figure slowly descended, golden light swirling around her. She opened her arms and closed the ancient golden scroll in front of her chest. It was the heavenly sound scroll, and this person was none other than Nuwa, who was sent to the 6 realms by Shino. It's Lady Nuwa, Lin Muyu, Tang Xiaoxi, and the rest had all seen her face before, and together with Miyue and the rest, they flew over and stopped a few meters away from Nuwa. Lin Muyu gave a fist salute and said, "Greetings, Lady Nuwa." Miyue said, "Greetings, Uncle Master." Nuwa's delicate face had a trace of sorrow as she said, "Miyue, so you're still alive, that's great." Miyue's eyes reddened. "Uncle Master, I'm useless, I couldn't protect Master. Even Big Brother couldn't stop that kind of opponent, let alone you. I don't blame you." As she spoke, Nuwa looked at Lin Muyu and said, "Lin Muyu, you are a martial god, and also the true inheritor of the heavenly sound scroll. Now that the sky beyond heaven is gone, I brought the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. As long as the heavenly sound scroll exists, the heavenly Tao of Mahayana will exist. Do you understand?" Lin Muyu was startled, then nodded and said, "Rest assured, Lady Nuwa. As long as we exist, the heavenly Tao of Mahayana will exist. The 7 luminaries demon emperor stepped forward and said, Lady Nuwa, since the sky beyond heaven is gone, let's invite the heavenly sound scroll into the hall of great accomplishment. The 3 realms will use all our strength to protect the heavenly Tao of Mahayana and protect the common people. Nuwa didn't say anything and only nodded. Then, she brought the heavenly sound scroll into the hall of great accomplishment and found a safe place in the depths of the hall of great accomplishment. She put the heavenly sound scroll away while Nuwa guarded it. She was the true protector of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana, but this also meant that Nuwa had joined the Eastern divinity and raised a banner for them. After the devil world penetrated through the chaos realm, devil chi surged. However, the devil world didn't seem to be peaceful at this moment. Rumbling sounds came from the sky. Explosions erupted from the surging undercurrents in the distance, accompanied by the sounds of countless devil luos dying. Above the Fekta temple, a group of holy king and demon generals were waiting in formation. Ziyan was dressed in armor and there was a hint of worry in his eyes. He said, "What are these titans trying to do? Destroy the demon realm." Bai Feng's voice was extremely calm. "Your Majesty, can't you feel it? The aura of these titans is extremely evil and violent. They are even more evil than the demon realm. Damn it, just a few thousand titans and they want to destroy the demon realm that is deeply rooted in the ground." Ziyan roared, "Someone, release the evil beasts in the demonic pool and order them to devour the titans in the sky." Yes. Not long after, the ground cracked open. There was a black demonic pool underground and many evil beasts that looked like swimming dragons roared and charged toward the titans in the sky. However, following a series of explosions, these evil beasts were no match for the titans and they were all killed. Instead, the gigantic titans appeared in the sky with all kinds of weapons in hand and looked at the people of the demon realm led by Ziyan with ferocious eyes. "Ziyan, you treacherous and despicable person. I will use your life as a sacrifice to the titans who died tragically in battle." Lei Luan's figure appeared and his body was wrapped in divine flames that were both good and evil at the same time. Chapter 1273. Fight. The demonic flames in Ziyan's hands turned into a ball of flames. He raised his palms and blasted it out, but it was blocked by Lei Luan. How can this be? Ziyan was dumbfounded. That was an attack with 90% of his strength. In the surroundings, countless demon luos and demon generals charged toward the titan. Even the demon gods who had just ascended into the demon realm were eager to give it a try. They were all eager to contribute to the demon realm, so much so that they neglected the powerful enemy in front of them. Amidst the rumbling sounds of mechas, thousands of titan warriors wreaked havoc among the demons. Streaks of blood-red light and energy blasts tore the demon realm warriors into pieces. Clumps of battle figures in the air were like a group of ants biting a giant elephant. However, the result was clearly not as good as Ziyan had imagined. After all, these ants were not poisonous, and the titans, who had obtained the god core, were much more powerful. They were not afraid of this kind of group attack. Pfft! After smashing a demon general and his mount into pieces with his warhammer, Lei Luan brushed the blood off his arm and looked at Ziyan with bloodshot eyes. "Ziyan, do you still not understand? You've lost. Your realm of demons has been completely defeated. If you swear loyalty to me now, I will let you live. I'll give you 30 minutes to think about it." "No need." Ziyan gritted his teeth. "I am the master of the realm of demons. I will only be loyal to the realm of demons and my own will. If I swear loyalty to you, is this the realm of demons or the realm of Titan? Stop dreaming. There is no end to the descendants of the realm of demons. There is no way you can fight against us. Men, use the holy demonic arrows to kill this group of steel trash." Huge crossbows were pushed out from the floor of the Fekta sacred hall. There were dazzling magical crystals embedded in the center of each crossbow. Apart from that, there were also some specially forged arrowheads that pointed at the titans in the distance. Guards, form a shield wall. Holy demonic arrows, fire. Ziyan flew down and personally led a group of Holy King and 2 Heavenly Kings to form an impenetrable wall to protect the long-range weapons behind them. Meanwhile, the holy demon arrows behind them glowed brightly and shot out beams of pure light. Bang, 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 in the sky, explosions rang out incessantly. Many titans' hearts were pierced by the demonic holy arrows. Not only that, but many of the demon realm's own people were also killed. Continue, kill them all. As Ziyan gave the order, he raised his arms. Endless demonic flames surged and formed a huge demonic flame wall in front of him. His eyes flashed and he said, Lei Luan, you only have 2 paths to take. One is to die in the demon realm, and the other is to immediately take your scrap metal and scram out of the demon realm. Don't let this emperor see you again. In the sky, Lei Luan did not say a word. Instead, he waved his war hammer and roared with all his might. At the same time, hundreds of titans did the same thing. In an instant, countless beams of light flowed down from the sky and directly struck the demonic flame wall that Ziyan had formed. Boom boom boom. After a series of violent collisions, the wall instantly collapsed. Not only that, but following the rumbling sounds, the demon generals and Holy King beside Ziyan were all pierced by the weapons. Blood floated in the air and some were even directly devoured by their own demonic flames. Behind him, explosions sounded from the Fekta Sacred Hall. The holy demon arrows were almost all destroyed. Ziyan's last resort was gone. These holy demon arrows were originally prepared for the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Lin Muyu. He did not expect them to end up like this. They were destroyed before they could even see them. Strong winds blew. Lei Luan opened his palm and the power from Zeus surged continuously. In an instant, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning. Amidst the rumbling sounds, the huge Fekta Sacred Hall instantly collapsed. That was the foundation of the demon realm. Not only that, another titan roared and attacked. His spear glowed with holy light. It was Odin's ultimate technique. Boom! A demon god's heart was pierced and he died instantly. Roar roar, the 2 heavenly kings roared angrily. With Ziyan's tacit approval, they charged toward the group of titans. However, it was clear that they could not hold on for long. Lei Luan and the other titans were too strong. Their powers were both righteous and evil, and they were incomparably vast. Even Ziyan might not be able to fight Lei Luan one-on-one. Ancestor Emperor. Bai Feng held his sword, his face full of confusion. The demon realm can't hold on much longer. Let's go. Pass down the order for the remaining demon realm troops to leave together. We are leaving the demon realm, where else can we go? Ziyan shouted. To Mount Dashang. What? Ziyan said proudly. We once slaughtered tens of thousands of crippled gods at Mount Dashang. Do you think the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Lin Muyu will take us in? I'm afraid, they will get rid of us together with these bastard titans. They won't. Bai Feng said confidently. The situation has already changed. We don't know where these titans obtained such tyrannical power. Lei Luan is the true enemy of the god realm. On the other hand, as long as we head to Mount Dashang and draw the flames of war there, the final outcome will be a bloody battle between the Eastern God realm and the Lei Luan tribe. And we can just sit back and watch them win or lose, Ancestor Emperor. Ziyan's eyes flickered. He could not make up his mind for a moment. It was only when the 2 heavenly kings let out miserable cries and their bodies were torn to shreds by Lei Luan and the other titans that Ziyan struck the air beneath his feet. Instantly, a huge cosmic well appeared in the air. It was like a gooseneck tunnel that led to the periphery of the demon realm. He shouted, "Demons of the demon realm, retreat with me, immediately." With that, Ziyan leaped into the star well of eternity, and Bai Feng and the other Saint Kings also leaped in one by one. They were the most precious forces of the Devil world, and once they were killed, the entire Devil world would most likely regress for tens of thousands of years. In the cosmic well, Ziyan, Bai Feng, and the others who were shuttling back and forth could not help but look back. However, they saw the miserable state of Mara's army in the demon realm being wiped out by the Titans with a single blow. The tens of millions of Mara's army had already become history and would never appear again. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, everyone appeared in the cosmic star. They were already thousands of miles away from the demon realm. Ziyan had a dejected look on his face as he said, "Is this what I deserve?" Bai Feng remained silent. The rest of the demon gods and demon generals appeared in the teleportation array one after another. More and more of them appeared. However, there did not seem to be too many people who managed to escape. There were no more than 5,000 of them. The last to appear was a middle demon god. When he flew out, the cosmic well behind him had already disappeared. With a mournful look on his face, he said, "The cosmic tunnel has been destroyed. Your Majesty, they are going on a killing spree in the demon realm. I'm afraid we won't be able to protect our people. These Titans are simply insane. What are they trying to do?" Ziyan clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. "Let's go, to the Eastern Heaven realm." "Yes." Mount Deshang. Figures appeared from the illusory pool. They were the figures of the people from the demon realm. Actually, everything that had happened in the demon realm had been seen through here. Ever since Goddess Nuwa had descended on Mount Deshang, the perception and spiritual senses here had increased by several folds. The demon realm is finished. We are next. Feng Jixing said with his arms crossed. The seven luminaries' demon emperor smiled. It's a pity that we are not the demon realm. We won't just sit and wait for death. We might not be as strong as the demon realm. Tang Xiaoxi dampened their enthusiasm. Not far away, on the other side of the stone steps stood the people from the Western Divine Realm. Shi Yan, Eva, and the rest had already led their elites to enter Mount Deshang. This was also one of the agreements. Looking at the image in the illusory pool, Shi Yan frowned. It's obvious that the Titans of the Leiluan tribe have been strengthened by a mysterious power. Their power has at least doubled. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to fight them head-on. Know yourself and know your enemy. The crux of the problem is that we don't know the actual situation of the other side. We have no idea where the Titans' power comes from and how strong they are. Ziyao's bright eyes were like autumn water as she looked at everyone. It's the power crystal of the northern gods. The voice was faint, as if it did not come from the mortal world. Strands of holy power fell in the hall like rain, and a figure quickly formed. It was Goddess Nuwa. Everyone knelt on one knee. Greetings, Goddess Nuwa. Nuwa nodded and smiled. Rise. Miue said, Uncle Master, you said that this is the power of the northern gods. What is it? Nuwa said, after the spiritual power was exhausted, the gods of the realm beyond Avalon could no longer support the world that was about to collapse. Therefore, they could only choose to sink into oblivion. Master was the same as them, choosing to sink into oblivion. However, if I'm not wrong, the northern gods have retained the essence of their power. Therefore, the essence of their power should have been stolen by the Titans. Lin Muyu frowned. In other words, if we start a war, it's equivalent to us starting a war with the Titans and the northern gods of the realm beyond Avalon? That's right. Perhaps they're even stronger. Nuwa's eyes were filled with worry as she said, Ayu, perhaps your sacred martial power will be able to turn the tide, or perhaps it won't. However, one thing is certain. The battle between the righteous and evil has finally arrived. The fallen Titans have already fallen into the hands of evil. In order to obtain more power, they will do all sorts of evil. Chu Chu sighed. The Titans are good at absorbing the power of the plane from the Spirit Mountain. Who knows how many lives in the plane will become sacrifices to the Titans? Feng Jixing said, it won't take the Titans more than a few days to completely conquer the demon realm. We don't have much time left. After conquering the demon realm, will they attack the eastern celestial realm immediately? Not necessarily. Shi Yan raised her eyebrows. If they know that the eastern, northern, and western celestial realms have merged, they probably won't rush to attack Mount Dashang. At least, it doesn't seem realistic now. With Yu Yu's holy power, our strength will also multiply. The Titans only have about 2,000 of them. After the war in the demon realm, they might lose more than 1,000. In addition, Lady Nuxi is with us now. When the time comes, their strength will be on par with ours. Lin Muyu crossed her arms and said, if I were them, I would absorb even more spiritual energy and be fully prepared for the final battle against the Eastern Celestial Realm. Chapter 1274. So, for the Leiluan tribe, what they need to do now is to attack the Spirit Mountains and absorb the power of the other planes for their own use. Only then will they be able to fight against the Divine Realm, right? The Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor narrowed his eyes and smiled. If that's the case, we can't just sit and wait. If the Titans attack the Spirit Mountains, we can't just sit and watch. If they attack, we'll ambush them. If we can kill one more Titan, they'll have one less. If they don't split up, they won't be able to destroy the Spirit Mountains quickly enough. If they split up, we'll attack. Shi Yan smiled. Yo, the Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor has become smart. You know how to use strategies like you. What are you talking about? I know how to do it, but I don't want to. Qin Yin tried to smooth things over. Then what do we do now? Let's wait and see. The Seven Brilliance Demon Monarch said, if we're planning to ambush them, we'll need to form a few groups of ambushers. We'll need to gather our strongest forces and eliminate the Titan tribe in a single blow. We won't give them any chance to hunt us down. Therefore, we must consider both attacking and escaping before we attack. Xiao pursed her lips. We can't have too many people. Each team has 5 people, but everyone has to do their job. Lin Muyu smiled. That's easy. I, Xiao Yin, Xiao Shi, Brother Feng, and Wei Chou will form a team. We have offense, defense, and archery. No matter how strong the Titans are, we'll be able to kill them if we ambush them one by one. Yeah. Xiao nodded. Yu's team is the first and strongest team. What about the others? Who else wants to join? Shi Yan stepped forward. The Western Divine Realm is duty-bound. I, Eva, Li Fei, Terralyn, and Star Goddess Carolyn can form a team. Although our offense and defense won't be as good as Yu's team, it won't be too bad. Xiao smiled, with 2 blazing angels guarding the place, it definitely won't be a problem as long as we don't run into Lei Luan. The Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor said, it seems that the Eastern Divine Realm can only form 2 teams. Me and Xiao, Fire God Zhao Ding, Nangong Lai. We're still missing a High God. Who's willing to fill in? On the side of the Northern Heaven Realm, the gods stood in great numbers. Dongming coughed and said, Second-tier superior god, God Dong, are you willing? If you're willing, I can make up the numbers for you. There's no helping it, the number of righteous gods in our Northern God realm is just too few, and I'm the only higher god. Xiao giggled. That would be great. Thank you, godly King Winter Ming, for giving me face. It's what I should do. The 3 heavenly realms are interdependent after all. Goddess Nua's face showed a hint of relief. Then it's decided. The 3 teams will be led by the War God, Mad God, and Moon Goddess respectively. Once we find out that the Titans have split up to attack Mount Spirited, we will attack. We must not let the titans continue to grow stronger. Otherwise, we won't even have a chance of winning. You guys attack separately, I will guard Mount Dashang. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor said, I'm just worried that after our 15 main gods attack Mount Dashang, what should we do if the Titan army presses down on us? After all, once we leave, we might not be able to return for 3 to 5 days. Nuwa smiled and said, you don't have to worry about that. I have treasures for you. As she spoke, Nuwa lightly raised her sleeve, and instantly, 3 fist-sized ice crystals that were like water droplets floated out. She said, this is a pure yang glazed lamp refined from the spirit of the heavens and the earth. It's a relic left behind by my master. Take it with you, and no matter where you go, so long as you crush the glazed lamp, then everything within 10 meters of you will be returned to this place. With that, Nuwa muttered some incantations, and the 3 pure yang glazed lamps were imprinted on Mount Dashang. Lin Muyu, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, and Shi Yan walked forward respectfully and received the glazed lamps, then treasured them in their space bags. This was a life-saving treasure, much more useful than the heavenly book of the law of space. The heavenly book could only teleport a few dozen kilometers away. With the Titan's strength, they would be able to catch up very quickly, and it would not be safe. Alright, then let's get ready. Yes. At this moment, a beautiful figure walked in quickly. It was Chu Yao. She frowned slightly and said, the people from the devil world are here. They will arrive at Mount Dashang soon. Even Zi Yan is here. Chu Yao could predict the future, so her words would definitely not be wrong. Lin Muyu frowned and said, regardless of whether Zi Yan is really here to join us, let's get into formation and face the enemy first. The Titans under Lei Luan have done too much evil, and Zi Yan is not a good person either. Yes, let's go and meet him. The gods flew out together, while Lady Nuwa sat quietly at the side of the illusory pool and entered a meditative state of cultivation. In the sky, the cold wind was biting cold. Lin Muyu, Feng Jixing, and the rest flew into the sky one by one, waiting for the enemy to arrive. Not long after, as expected, figures appeared one after another in the sky of Mount Dashang. They were all murderers who had attacked Mount Dashang before. Among them, there were even demon gods who had personally killed the righteous gods of the eastern celestial world. Prepare for battle. Lin Muyu shouted in a low voice. Immediately, the casual robe that she was wearing was plated with a layer of golden light. A scarlet cloak spread out from behind her, and she instantly entered the martial god state. On the side, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Feng Jixing, and the rest also entered the incomparably majestic god transformation state one after another. For a moment, they were ready to fight. Pang! The Xianyuan sword, which was still in its sheath, suddenly hit the void under their feet. Immediately, a majestic golden divine power rippled out, forming a barrier formed by the power of the holy martial arts a few hundred meters in front of Lin Muyu, Feng Jixing, and the rest. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and said, "This is Mount Dashang, the sacred land of the eastern celestial world. Zi Yan, what are you doing here? Are you going to declare war on the celestial world again?" Zi Yan frowned and said, "I don't mean that. Lin Muyu, don't you know everything that has happened in the demon world?" "I know." "If you know, why do you ask?" Zi Yan said indifferently, "At this time, the demon world is like a dead egg, and the power of the Leiluan tribe is far beyond any of your celestial world. Times have changed. Now that we have a common enemy, we should be in a state of interdependence. What do you mean by putting up such a battle formation?" Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh. "Zi Yan, how many upright gods have you killed, and now you are trying to please us? When you were the lord of the demon world with millions of subordinates, we were still afraid of you. Now, look at how many people are following you. Do you deserve to be our ally now? To put it bluntly, if I turn against you, I can kill all of you by myself." You, Zi Yan trembled with anger, but he also believed that Lin Muyu could do such a thing, and she had the capital to say such words. The martial god who had the AO sword tactics and the power of holy martial arts was simply invincible. Once he was provoked, he could do whatever he said. Xiao stood up to smooth things over and said, Ziyan, what do you want to do in Mount Dasheng? Ziyan frowned and didn't know what to say. Holy King Baifeng rode his mount and flew out, saying, Fairy Xiao, now that the demon world has been destroyed, and the Leiluan tribe has destroyed our home, we have nowhere to go now, and we may be chased at any time. Therefore, the ancestor emperor brought the fire seed of the demon world here to seek protection from the celestial world. You are gods, and I hope you can provide us with protection. 7 luminaries demon emperor sneered, so, only a few thousand people escaped from the demon world? That's great, if we kill you all now, then the biggest threat to the 6 realms can be eliminated. The group of demon gods and demon generals turned pale with fright, and all of them were ready to fight. Xiao didn't say anything, and seemed to agree with the 7 luminaries demon emperor's words. But at this time, Baifeng Holy King said, 7 luminaries emperor, Fairy Xiao, martial god, you are the rulers of the celestial world, and naturally know the rules and order of the 6 realms. All things are living beings, and the people of the demon world are also living beings. Since there are lives, we can't not save them. The final order of the 6 realms must be coexistence. Lady Qin Yin, you are the graceful goddess, you should know this the best, right? Qin Yin pursed her red lips and nodded her head in silence. Lin Muyu said, provide protection to you? But how do we know that you won't be a wolf that can't be fed, and take advantage of our weakness to give us a fatal blow? We definitely won't, we definitely won't. Baifeng Holy King gritted her teeth and said, I swear. You are only the Holy King, there is no use in swearing. Shiyen smiled and said, if I remember correctly, the Holy King has no status, and is even lower than the Holy Emperor. Baifeng Holy King, Ziyen frowned and said, Lady Shiyen, you still remember me? Shiyen giggled, and her elegant battle angel attire trembled slightly. The towering peaks on her chest were captivating. She stared at Ziyen with her beautiful eyes and said, didn't you say that you wanted to be a good demon? But then, you took the god-destroying tower and almost killed me and Eva. We haven't settled this debt yet. Ziyen said, then what do you want? The 7 luminaries demon emperor said, we can provide protection, but there is a condition. What condition? Ziyen said. Cripple your demonic arts, Ziyen. Lin Muyu said resolutely, your power will always be a threat, so we will not allow you to continue existing. Either you cripple your cultivation or you die. Ziyen gritted his teeth and said, it's fine if you don't provide protection, but you are actually so overbearing? Are we overbearing? Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and said, you can leave, but the moment you do, I will lead the gods to hunt you down. The demon realm has always been our mortal enemy. If we did not submit to the god realm, why should we protect you? Shiyen smiled and said, Ziyen, for the demon realm, or for yourself, do as you see fit. Didn't you say that you want to be a good demon? Let's start with this step. Ziyen, after a while, the Holy King Baifeng said, Ancestor Emperor, if there is no other way, let's leave. If they want to kill us, then kill us. At most, we will fight to the death, no. Ziyan's eyes turned red, and he said, Shiyen is right. I am a member of the demon realm, so I have to do something for the demon realm. If I lose my cultivation, I will lose my position as the lord of the demon realm. I hope that the next lord of the demon realm will be someone who knows how to judge the situation, so I choose to pass on my cultivation to the next lord of the demon realm. She is you, Baifeng. Baifeng Holy King Baifeng was stunned, me. Chapter 1275. Yes, it's you. Are you ready? Ziyen gently opened his palm. Streams of blood qi surged. He had already begun to disperse his internal energy. He had no other choice. Lin Muyu, Shi Yan, 7 luminaries demon emperor, and the other righteous gods were eyeing him covetously. They would never allow Ziyan to leave unscathed. Your Majesty, there must be another choice. Bai Feng said anxiously. However, her body suddenly seemed to be grabbed by a huge palm. She couldn't move. It was the domain created by Ziyan's demonic energy. It had completely confined Bai Feng's body. You don't need to resist. Just accept the power I give you. Ziyan's voice was calm. It may be painful, but you have to endure it. The future of the devil world is in your hands. Thick demonic flames surged and lingered around Bai Feng. They seeped into her body. Bai Feng howled in pain. She was just a small holy king. One could imagine the pain she was in when she suddenly suffered from Ziyan's formidable power. The group of holy kings and demon generals around her stood there dumbfounded. They knew that Ziyan was dispersing his internal energy to preserve the fate of his race. Although the devil world had far more people than the divine world, they were by no means a match for the divine world. The 3 main gods, Lin Muyu, 7 luminaries demon emperor, and Shi Yan, were beyond the devil world's ability to handle. Not to mention, there were so many superior gods of the 2nd and 3rd tier. Once they attacked, they could destroy a mere few thousand people of the devil world in an instant. Gradually, the 2 sides of Bai Feng's head began to protrude. Blood flowed all over her face. She knelt on the spatial wall and groaned miserably. Her body was covered with a purple aura. Not long after, her long hair turned purple-red. 2 curved horns grew from both sides of her head. She looked just like a devil. The great power had even changed the appearance of the holy king of the White Wind. Lin Muyu and Shi Yan frowned in silence. The 7 luminaries demon emperor growled, Ziyan, what are you doing? Do you think that the demon realm will be able to escape this calamity just because you imparted your power to Bai Feng? So what if she's Bai Feng? She's also from the devil realm and the mortal enemy of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Ziyan's entire body trembled, and because he had lost too much power, he began to age. His hair turned white in the blink of an eye, and the flames in his eyes seemed like they were about to burst out. Looking at Lin Muyu, he roared, Lin Muyu, martial god. You don't trust me, but don't you trust the holy king Bai Feng? Bai Feng was kneeling not far from Lin Muyu. She raised her head in pain, her eyes filled with a pleading look. I trust her. Lin Muyu knew that if it wasn't for the help of the holy king Bai Feng in the previous battle, she wouldn't have been able to save Qin Yin, Xiao, and the rest so smoothly. Bai Feng had kindness in her heart, which was very rare. In the entire devil realm, she was probably the most suitable person to be the lord of the devil realm. Only she could make the devil realm and the celestial realm coexist peacefully. Thank you, Bai Feng. Holy King Bai Feng lowered her head again, and groaned in pain. The 7 luminaries demon emperor didn't say anything else. Lin Muyu believed that he must have his reasons, so there was no need to ask anymore. In fact, the 7 luminaries demon emperor didn't want to interfere in this kind of thing. His heart was to be able to settle his debts of gratitude and revenge. The entire process lasted for nearly 10 minutes. When Ziyan's devil flame power seeped into Bai Feng Holy King Bai Feng's body, his skin shrunk a little, and he fell on the mount of a demon general, fainting. Swoosh! On the other hand, Bai Feng Holy King Bai Feng's body was enshrouded in layers of purple devil flame, which plated her body with a layer of pale golden armor. A dark golden cloak fluttered behind her. At this moment, the demon realm seemed to have recognized this new lord of the demon realm. Even her demon god transformation state had changed completely. All the demon realm experts knelt down and said in a low voice, Greetings, Holy Emperor Bai Feng. Bai Feng's eyes were like water. She gently waved her hand and said, Rise. As she said that, she floated to Ziyan's side and asked softly, "Ancestor Emperor, how are you?" Ziyan shook his head. "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." "Lin Muyu, Xian. Can you protect the demon realm now?" "Yes." Xian's cloak fluttered in the wind behind her. There was a faint smile on her lips as she said, "Since we are like lips and teeth, we naturally have to protect each other. However, Ziyan, I'm a little surprised that you're willing to part with your cultivation." Ziyan smiled bitterly and said, "So what if I'm unwilling? No matter how much I desire power, I can't destroy the entire demon realm. Now, since you've promised, then give us a place to establish ourselves in the demon realm." Xiao said, 200 miles east of Mount Deshang, there is a spiritual mountain called Fire Forest Mountain. There are fiery red maple trees growing there all year round. The core of the mountain is connected to the Fire Forest world under the jurisdiction of the Eastern God Realm. The population of the Fire Forest world is abundant and the spiritual energy there is abundant. You can temporarily stay on the Fire Forest Mountain. We will provide all the food you need. At the very least, if you stay on the Fire Forest Mountain, Lei Luan won't dare to attack. Even if he does, we can instantly rush to your rescue. Many thanks, Fairy Xiao. Baifeng the Holy Emperor nodded and said, "Then, please appoint a righteous god to lead us there." "I know the Fire Forest Mountain. Should I bring them there?" Lin Muyu said. "All right." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Xiao nodded in delight. Lin Muyu was the most suitable person to go. He was familiar with Ziyan and Baifeng. Moreover, he was very strong, so there was no need to worry about the demon realm's retaliation. After comforting everyone, the demon realm's army began to fly towards the Fire Forest Mountain. Not long after, the misty Immortal Mountain appeared in the sea of clouds. Baifeng couldn't help but relax her brows and said, "The domain of the gods is indeed so beautiful. It is far better than the darkness and obscurity of the demon realm and the hell of Mara." Lin Muyu flew side by side with her and said, "Every immortal mountain is connected to a large plain. Therefore, you can only absorb the spiritual energy there and must not damage the core. Once the core of the spiritual mountain is damaged, the death toll will be in the hundreds of millions. I hope Baifeng can supervise the entire demon realm's army and stop them from running amok." "Yes, I will." Baifeng pursed her purple lips and nodded. Not far away, Ziyan sat on the back of a demon tiger and said, "Baifeng, I'm sorry." "Why?" Baifeng was stunned. Ziyan said in a low voice, "I know you have a bright heart. Originally, I planned to hand over the Divine Realm's Holy Land to you after the Demon Realm unified the 6 worlds and let you rule the 4 great Divine Realms. Compared to me, you are more qualified. I wanted you to be the king of the gods and rule the world together with the Demon Realm. Unfortunately, I still dragged you into the endless abyss of the Demon Realm." Baifeng frowned and said, "Ancestor Emperor, I have always understood that the Demon Realm is just a name. A race doesn't have to be associated with evil and slaughter. What do you think? Perhaps ask the martial god if he would believe such a thing." "I believe." Lin Muyu smiled and said, "Why not? I have always been a person who pursues perfection. I have never thought of exterminating the entire demon realm. I only wanted to beat you back to the demon realm and re-establish the seal of the 6 worlds. From then on, the demon realm and the divine realm can coexist peacefully. However, I didn't expect the Titan clan to appear halfway." Ziyan grinned and said, "I have something to say, but I don't know if I should say it or not." "Say it, Ziyan. It's very simple." Ziyan said, "You righteous gods all talk about benevolence and morality. You are not willing to harm the common people. However, the Titans are different. I have seen the power of Lei Luan. His Titans have done all kinds of evil. They destroyed the spiritual mountains and absorbed the spirits of all living things. Their power will continue to increase, while you righteous gods will not be able to advance. As this goes on, the power of the Lei Luan tribe will eventually surpass you. At that time, I am afraid it will be too late for you to regret. Even the gods from the sky beyond heaven will not be able to save you. You still don't know? Lin Muyu said with a frown. Don't know what? Ziyan asked. There is no sky beyond heaven anymore. The gods from the sky beyond heaven have all been annihilated. Ziyan turned pale with fright. Why? I don't know either. Lin Muyu shook her head and said, in short, everything is not as we had imagined. Your ambition to rule the world in my righteous path has become a bit difficult. After the sky beyond heaven is annihilated, the heavenly sound scroll of the Mahayana heavenly Tao is the only righteous path's law. The Lei Luan tribe will definitely fight with us. At that time, it will be up to you who you support. Do you want to see the living beings of the 6 realms coexist peacefully, or do you want to see the whole world go dark and be devoured by the titans? His voice was very soft, but every word he said was sonorous. Holy Emperor Baifeng wanted to say something but stopped. After a few seconds, he said, Martial God, please be at ease. The demon realm will not follow the ancient teachings. The demon realm is also a race of the 6 realms. We will not sit and watch the titans destroy the whole world. Lin Muyu looked down at the spirit mountain below her and said, We've arrived at the Fire Forest Mountain. This place will be your temporary residence. This was originally a primitive forest and has not been developed. You can cut down trees to build your own houses or dig a cave to live in. As long as you don't damage your body's core, it will be fine. Yes, we understand. Then I won't be seeing you off. May you all be well. Yes. Baifeng stood in the wind and respectfully bowed to Lin Muyu and said, May you all be well. With the sound of the wind, Lin Muyu was already a few miles away. Looking at Lin Muyu's disappearing figure, Ziyan said weakly, Baifeng, do you really believe him? Is it really worth it for us to entrust the fate of the entire demon realm to a person who has the power to destroy the world? It's worth it. Baifeng forcefully nodded and said, his power is indeed enough to destroy the world, but he doesn't. Does he need anything more to prove his character? Compared to the righteous gods, are we evil and violent? Ziyan asked a question that didn't quite match his identity. He, Baifeng laughed, no, our way of dealing with enemies is correct, but now, the Mahayana heavenly law is already our ally, so we must treat each other with sincerity. Ancestor Emperor, let me help you to rest. The spirit energy here is abundant and can help you recover quickly. Okay. A group of experts from the Devil Realm landed one after another. They began to cut down trees and build houses. There was no lack of demon gods from the various planes among these experts. Some of them were even carpenters by birth. Their skills were now put to good use. Chapter 1276. The southern god realm was located in a sacred land amidst a sea of stars. Celestial mountains floated in the middle of the sea of clouds, shrouded in celestial energy. The gods of the southern god realm lived here for generations. The Palace of Gloom was a palace that was connected by 2 celestial mountains. The 2 celestial mountains were connected by a long corridor in the air, which made this place seem even more mysterious. Although the Palace of Gloom was called the Palace of Gloom, it was actually made of gold and copper tiles, intersecting with each other. In addition, the 2 celestial mountains were connected by a dense forest and surrounded by clouds and mist, making this place seem like a celestial realm. Thunder god Luo Wen was a second-rank higher god of the southern god realm. He controlled the strongest power in the southern god realm. Ever since he ascended, he was worshipped as the ruler of the southern god realm. At this time, the dim palace was solemn. The light of the setting sun was reflected on the glazed floor tiles of the main hall. The floor tiles were reflecting the huge pillars that two people could encircle, and the ancient characters above them were reflected one by one. Thunder God stood beside the throne. Below the throne were a dozen or so righteous gods who stayed behind to guard the Gloom Palace. All of them were silent. Clatter clatter clatter, a crippled god clad in armor walked into the great hall accompanied by the sound of heavy footsteps. His gaze was ice-cold as he said, "An incense stick's worth of time ago, the figures of the Titans appeared 150 kilometers to the east. They have already destroyed 3 spirit mountains in a row and they are currently absorbing the energy within them. Lord Thunder God, if we do not attack now, I'm afraid that the entire southern god realm will be destroyed in a single day." Thunder God said indifferently, "How many Titans have come?" 5 in total, divided into 2 groups. Humph. At this time, a middle-aged man at the front of the gods in the main hall stepped forward and cupped his fists. "Thunder God, the Thunder Luan tribe has already attacked the Devil Realm. We don't know where their main force is, but some of the evil Titans have already invaded our southern god realm. This is not a crisis that we can handle alone. Please send a distress signal to Mount Dashang immediately. The gods have gathered there and will definitely be able to solve our crisis." Mount Dashang? Thunder God smiled. "Dong Yi, have you forgotten that we were chased out of Mount Dashang? The gods of Mount Dashang don't care about our southern divine realm at all, so why should we go and humiliate ourselves?" Humph, the Thunder Luan tribe destroyed the demon world in one fell swoop, and they are determined to conquer the 6 realms. Their next target will definitely be the Dashang mountain, and not us. Don't worry, it's just 3 to 5 Titans. We'll gather our strength and annihilate them in one fell swoop. But Thor, Dong Yi frowned and said, "Even if there are only 3 to 5 Titans, we can't underestimate them. It is said that these Titans are all brave and invincible. Even the Holy King of the Demon Realm is no match for them. We lack manpower, so I'm afraid we're no match for them." Ha 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 ha, the God of Thunder could not help but laugh wildly. He pointed at Dong Yi and said, "Dong Yi, as a second-tier god, you actually dare to say such insulting words to the gods. No wonder the Mahayana Heavenly Tao conferred you the title of God of Cooking. Looking at you, I'm afraid that only washing rice and cooking are suitable for you. If you don't dare, I'll lead the southern gods to kill Titan." Dong Yi's face alternated between red and white. He said, "God of Thunder, if you insist on doing things your own way, I'll go with you." Ha ha ha, that's right. Gods, follow me to kill the enemies. Yes, my lord. But at this moment, a buzzing sound came from the sky, as if the sky was trembling. What followed was an oppressive feeling that could crush everything. The bricks and tiles of the main hall were shattered. What's wrong? Dong Yi was shocked. With a loud bang, the main hall was smashed into pieces. A blood-red war hammer landed on the glazed floor, followed closely by the huge body of a Titan. Who else could it be other than Lei Luan? Bastard! The God of Thunder, Luo Wen, roared angrily. He raised his spear and dashed forward. Light flowed on the tip of the spear and instantly turned into thousands of lightning bolts that swallowed Lei Luan's body. But when the lightning bolts were less than 30 centimeters away from Lei Luan's body, they were suddenly blocked by an energy shield. For a moment, the shield was ravaged by the lightning bolts, leaving fiery red marks on it. But the shield remained standing. "You want to fight against my race?" Lei Luan's mechanical voice was tinged with ridicule. His left fist rumbled as he punched at Thor with the power of Zeus's lightning. Thor hastily withdrew his spear and blocked it in front of his chest. With a roar, he condensed a huge lightning shield to protect his body. Bang! The two thunder powers intertwined. Although Lei Luan's punch wasn't able to break the shield, his huge fist still swept across Thunder God's shield. Immediately, Thunder God couldn't help but be blasted away. His divine power shield broke through 2 huge pillars, and finally, its energy was exhausted. Thunder God was blasted out of the palace hall by Lei Luan's fist. Save the God of Thunder! The gods shouted. But it was too late. Figures fell from the sky one after another, creating ripples of energy in their wake as they trampled all the gods of the southern god realm to death, causing blood to spurt everywhere. Run! Outside the hall, a bolt of lightning suddenly grabbed the body of the cooking god, Dong Yi, and threw him into the air. Dong Yi was in the wind, but he heard the angry roar of the thunder god, Luo Wan, go to the eastern god realm, live. Behind him, a huge silhouette leaped into the air. After a lightning bolt, a huge metal foot stomped on Thunder God. It was Lei Luan's attack, and it was extremely powerful. Bang! An air current surged and lightning crackled. The god of thunder summoned a shield for the second time and raised his arm to block Lei Luan's attack. But how could he block it? With a loud bang, the god of thunder's body sank several meters into the ground. The entire Gloom Palace sank almost half a meter, and many of the buildings were on the verge of collapse. The god of thunder's divine power dissipated in the air. He was dead. God of thunder, Dong Yi glanced behind him and saw countless black figures in the sky. The titans had descended one by one and they had appeared in a place that none of the gods in the god realm had expected. They had actually chosen the southern god realm as their second destination after the devil realm. Dong Yi endured the pain and tears in his eyes and flew towards the eastern god realm without looking back. Behind him, countless crippled gods of the southern celestial world rushed out and clashed with the titans of the Thunder Luan tribe. In an instant, streaks of fiery light appeared on the two great spirit mountains where the Palace of Gloom was located. The southern celestial world was completely defeated, and their army was close to annihilation. Half a day later, a figure appeared in the sky. Dong Yi had used up almost all of his divine power to fly, and he fell from the sky towards the Hall of Great Accomplishment like a meteor. He's here. Wei Chou leaped and lightly carried Dong Yi's body into his arms. Then, he floated into the hall. In the Great Hall, all the gods of the Eastern God Realm were already present. Even Shi Yan, Dong Ming, Lao Hua and the others were present. Each and every one of them had solemn expressions on their faces. More than half a day ago, Chu Yao had already prophesied that the Southern God Realm was about to be destroyed. Now, Dong Yi had finally arrived and brought back a definite piece of news. 7 Luminaries Emperor, Dong Yi knelt on the ground wearily and said with tears streaming down his face, "The Southern Heaven Realm is gone, all gone." The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor sat on the throne and frowned. "I know, I already know." Dong Yi cried, "Lord Thunder God, more than 20 righteous gods and tens of thousands of crippled gods are all gone, I know." The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor was a little helpless and waved his hand. "We are the protectors of the Mahayana Heavenly Way just like the Southern Heaven Realm. We will definitely not stand by and watch. Soon, we will set off for the Southern God Realm to fight. Dong Yi, go and have a good rest first. If you have enough divine power, you might be able to do your part for the Mahayana Heavenly Way." "Yes, I will take my leave." Dong Yi was led by Chu Yao to the residence that had been arranged for him in advance. The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor took a deep breath and said, "Now you can tell me, you. Why did you stop us from heading to the Southern God Realm half a day ago?" "That's right, why?" Xiao also asked. Lin Muyu took a step forward and said calmly, "You saw it in the illusory pool. Lei Luan gathered more than 1,000 mutated titans to attack the Southern God Realm and destroyed the entire Southern God Realm in one go. Other than Dong Yi, not a single one of them survived. At this moment, Lei Luan has already planned to use the Gloom Palace as their foundation in the God Realm. If we go to the Southern God Realm now, it would be equivalent to going head-to-head with their 1,000 titans. This is definitely not the best time to attack." Shi Yan nodded her head in agreement and smiled. "Yu's judgment is very correct. This is definitely not the best time to attack." Dong Ming asked, "Then when do you think is the best time to attack, Martial God?" Lin Muyu said, the reason why the Lei Luan tribe occupied the southern god realm is very simple. They are after the core energy of the spirit mountains. Therefore, once they gain a foothold in the Gloom Palace, they will definitely send the titans to disperse and absorb the energy of the various spirit mountains. As far as I know, the spirit mountains in the southern god realm are very far away from each other. The closest one to the Gloom Palace is at least an hour's flight away. This will make things easier. We can use the time difference to continuously kill the titans that are absorbing energy from the various spirit mountains. Xiao chuckled, yes, you is still the one who sees things clearly. Then let's wait. Lei Luan will definitely separate the titans to destroy the various spirit mountains. There's no need to wait, they have already started. Feng Jixing pointed at the illusory pool and the water surface immediately rose. Within the dense mist, the titans around the Gloom Palace appeared one by one and scattered in all directions. Is this the best time? Wei Chou asked. Yes. Lin Muyu nodded, the three teams will act separately. Let's go. We must eliminate them before they can absorb the powerful energy. Yes, all right. The seven luminaries Demon Emperor and Shi Yan nodded respectively. After the time it took for a joss stick to burn, 15 streams of light separated into 3 teams and left Mount Dashang. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the vast starry light. Chapter 1277. Under the dazzling starlight, a few figures streaked across the sky like dragonflies and disappeared into a deserted spirit mountain. After a day and a night, Lin Muyu and the others finally arrived at the edge of the southern celestial world. They were not in a hurry. If they were too impatient, they would be easily discovered by the titans of the Lei Luan tribe. On the side of a pitch-black cliff, Lin Muyu, Feng Jixing, and Wei Chou straightened their bodies and stuck close to the cliff. They had lowered their auras to the point where they could not be discovered. Lin Muyu glanced to her right and saw that Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi were also standing with their backs straight against the rock wall. Unfortunately, looking from top to bottom, she could still see the 4 tall peaks. Usually, it would be pleasing to the eye, but now, it was easier to be discovered. Lin Muyu exerted a little force in her palm and immediately, a short pine branch was pulled over quietly, blocking the 2 girls from the spot that should not be exposed. Hiss, hiss, the screeching of the titans came from the sky. When they looked up, they saw a total of 10 figures. All of them had bodies of steel. Their bodies were wrapped in faint spiritual energy and they left long trails in the sky. It was a patrol team. The people of the Lei Luan tribe were not fools. They were very cautious about the safety of their surroundings. Feng Jixing looked up at the patrol team and said, there are 10 of them in total. The leader is rather strong. His aura is not inferior to that of a first-tier high god. This is going to be tricky, Lin Muyu nodded and said in agreement, don't alert them unless absolutely necessary. The 5 of us against 10 titans. I'm afraid, Tang Xiaoxi smiled, why? Can't we beat them? We can, but someone will definitely get hurt. Once someone gets hurt, it will be hard to tell who will win. Lin Muyu let out a sigh and said, since there are already patrols of the Lei Luan tribe here, it means that they have already expanded their sphere of influence to this area. Let's go. We will search in the opposite direction of the patrol team. We will definitely find something. Alright, let's go. The 5 of them leaped into the air at the same time, transforming into streaks of light that flew along the mountain range and into the distance. Not long after traveling for less than 20 kilometers, they saw a spirit mountain trembling majestically in front of them. The spirit mountain's spiritual power was starting to dry up. Above it, the 3 titans continuously swung their iron hammers and smashed it from afar. The spirit mountain's core was already in danger, and it could explode at any moment. Then, the spiritual power would leak out and be absorbed by the titans. Roar, the titans let out low roars of satisfaction as they attacked. Just as Elder Tai Lon had said, these titans had already fallen into the abyss of darkness. They were no longer the titan god race that yearned for the light. In their hearts, power was already greater than everything else, and they did not care about the life and death of all living beings. A spirit mountain represented thousands of living beings on the corresponding plane. Their lives and deaths were all shaken by these simple yet violent attacks. Amidst the fog, Wei Chao's eyes could see the furthest. He said, "Lin General, we have to act quickly. Otherwise, we will lose this spirit mountain in the blink of an eye." Lin Muyu said, "Prepare to act. Wei Chou, you will first kill the titan in the middle. I will attack the left. Big Brother Feng and Xiao Shi will attack the one on the right. Xiao Yin will hold the line. You will help whichever side needs help." As she spoke, blood-colored lightning appeared on her arms. The power of the sacred martial had already been bestowed to everyone around her. Squeak squeak, Wei Chou suddenly drew the Hoi bow. The bowstring creaked as it was pulled taut. An arrow that carried the divine power of punishment condensed on the bowstring. He pointed it into the distance, giving off the aura of looking northwest, shooting the celestial wolf. Chi! The arrow pierced through the air like a rainbow piercing through the moon. With a muffled sound, an arrow accurately shot into the heart of the titan in the middle from a distance of only 2,000 meters. Immediately after, there was an explosion. This was the power of retribution. A huge, bloody hole exploded in the titan's chest. The titan roared angrily. The other two titans also quickly looked over and roared angrily. "Go!" Lin Muyu raised the Xian Yuan sword and shot out like a sharp arrow. Without waiting for the titan to move, she slashed down from the sky with the power of the AO sword tactics. Bang! The sword light was dazzling. The titan raised its iron arm to block, but it could not resist the sharpness of the Xian Yuan sword at all. The blade floated with white air waves. It was cold and sharp, and it directly cut off the thick iron arm. Under Lin Muyu's low roar, the second attack came out. A fierce diagonal slash cut through the titan's heart. At the moment when the heart was cut open, Lin Muyu not only saw the titan's heart, but also a ball of bright blue energy. It was very holy. This was a power that did not belong to the titan at all, but at this moment, this ball of energy formed another heart of the titan, supporting his energy source. After his body was cut open, he still did not die. He suddenly raised his leg and kicked at Lin Muyu's waist. "Be careful." Lin Muyu easily dodged to the side and cut off the titan's leg. She whispered, "They have two hearts. They must be destroyed to be completely killed." She opened her left hand, and lightning flashed. She attacked quickly, grabbed the ball of blue energy, and crushed it. Swoosh! At the moment when the blue energy was shattered, a floating figure appeared with the energy. It was a girl. She smiled at Lin Muyu, and then disappeared in the wind. It was the divine sense. Yes, it was the divine sense of the gods beyond the heavens. They had never died, but had fallen into a deep sleep. Lin Muyu killing the titan was equivalent to freeing their imprisoned divine sense, which could be considered a great merit. On the side, Qin Yin's Donghua sword pierced into the injured titan's other heart, destroying it together. Not far away, Feng Jixing and Tang Xiaoxi's joint attack killed the third titan. They destroyed two of its hearts, completely destroying the titan's life. Two divine figures appeared in the sky again and disappeared with the wind. No one knew where they went, but at least they knew that they left with smiles. Boom, 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 only then did the corpses of the three titans slowly fall to the ground, landing on the crumbling spirit mountain. "Let's go." Lin Muyu frowned and said, "Let's head east. Their patrol team will be here soon. We'll fire a shot and change our location so that they won't be able to track us. Remember to maintain your stamina and divine power." "Okay." The four of them nodded and then flew east under Lin Muyu's lead. Just like Lin Muyu's plan, under the sneak attack of the 5-man team, they killed 3 to 4 titans in less than 2 minutes. Moreover, they killed them almost without any losses. The gods on their side didn't even suffer a single injury. In less than 2 hours, more than 20 titans had died under the attack of the 5. The results were outstanding, but it was far from enough. Buzz, buzz, a slight trembling sound came from the space. Qin Yin frowned and said, "The Spirit Mountain 5 kilometers northeast. Quick, this Spirit Mountain can't hold on much longer." By the time the 5 of them arrived, it was already too late. 3 of the titans swung their battle axes and hammers repeatedly, breaking through the core of a Spirit Mountain. Meanwhile, the other 2 titans had already opened up the shells on their chests and were madly absorbing the energy and spiritual energy leaking out of the Spirit Mountain. The 2 hearts at their chests kept flashing, seemingly extremely satisfied. There are 5 of them in total. Lin Muyu stood in the dimensional space, her cloak fluttering in the wind. She said, "We have to get rid of all of them once we get out. Wei Chou, how many can you kill before they notice us?" Wei Chou smiled, his face full of confidence. "I can kill the 2 titans whose hearts are exposed in an instant." "All right." Lin Muyu had absolute confidence in Wei Chou's abilities. She said, "We'll attack on the count of 3. I'll take the one on the left, Xiao Yin will take the one in the middle. Big Brother Feng and Xiao Shi will continue to attack the one on the right. Wei Chou will take care of the 2 titans who are absorbing spiritual energy. We have to end the battle quickly. We can't let them hold us back. All right. 1, 2, 3. The 4 of them turned into streams of light and left the dimensional space, whistling through the air. As the 4 of them disappeared, Wei Chou placed his right hand on the bowstring and took out 4 arrows. He suddenly drew the Ho-E bow and shot 4 arrows at once. In the entire world, only a prodigy in archery like him could shoot 4 arrows at once. As the bowstring hummed, the 4 arrows shot out at the same time, piercing through the hearts of the 2 titans. Instantly, the process of them absorbing spiritual energy came to an abrupt halt, and their bodies fell rapidly. Clang, clang. In the sound of metal and stone colliding, Lin Muyu suddenly slashed at the titan's chest with 2 swords. These 2 swords only damaged its carapace. The titan raised his arm and swung his battle axe wildly at an extremely fast speed. Lin Muyu's movements were even faster. She stepped on the void and bounced backward. After a refraction in the air, she attacked again. The Xianyuan sword quickly struck twice, making a cross in front of the titan's chest and successfully killing it. On the other side, Qin Yin's attack was not so smooth. After all, without the power of the AO sword tactics, Qin Yin could only break the blood-red shield of the titan in the middle. The hard iron arm of the Donghua sword was also blocked by the hard iron arm of the titan. The sound was not the sound of metal and stone colliding, but the sound of energy colliding. The power of this titan was not simple. You righteous gods of the Mahayana heavenly path really don't know what's good for you. The titan roared and punched out with his iron fist. Bang! Qin Yin was shaken and flew back. The cloak wrapped her graceful body, and she looked a little embarrassed. But at this moment, the titan suddenly couldn't move. A sword chi burst out from his chest, and the image of the blade of the Xianyuan sword emerged. It was Lin Muyu's surprise attack from behind. The blade swept across and almost cut the titan's chest in half. 2 hearts were destroyed at the same time. The violent sound instantly became one, and he died a tragic death. Xiao Yin, are you okay? Lin Muyu asked with concern. I'm fine. Qin Yin shook her head and smiled sweetly. I seem to be holding you back, it's nothing. Lin Muyu turned around and saw Feng Jixing raise his palm. Under the power of wind control, the last titan's arm was shredded by the strong wind, and Tang Xiaoxi's flames melted the titan's chest armor. 2 flashes of light flashed. It was Wei Chao's 2 sharp arrows. The Titan's defenses were immediately torn apart, and he was killed. Flying over with the Hou-Yi Bao, Wei Chao said, "Lin General, it's already a little tricky for us to deal with 5 Titans. If the Demon Emperor and Xian's 2 teams meet us, I'm afraid it'll be even more troublesome, right?" "Yes, so we need to speed up and kill more Titans. At the very least, we need to weaken their strength as much as possible before Lei Luan discovers our plan. After that, even if we fight the final battle, we'll be invincible." "Yes. Let's go. We can't stay for long. They'll be here soon." In the starry sky, 5 figures disappeared without a trace in a flash, like swift fish disappearing among the water plants. Chapter 1278. The Pure Yang realm was a plain located at the edge of the southern starry sky. At this moment, the spiritual mountain corresponding to the Pure Yang realm was being bombarded by 4 Titans. The entire plain was in danger. The tremors of the spiritual mountain were naturally seen in the mortal world. Ninyang City was the center of the Pure Yang realm, the capital of the Celestial Empire. At this moment, Ninyang City seemed to be experiencing an unprecedented catastrophe. The ground shook violently, and countless meteors fell from the sky, creating deep ditches and pits between the palaces and residences. Flames shot up into the sky, and countless living beings cried and howled. "Protect the Emperor!" Royal guards dressed in dignified golden armor surrounded the Emperor with long swords and shields. This 27-year-old emperor was called Lingtu. From the age of 19, he had been fighting all over the world, continuously recovering the lost territories of the Celestial Empire. 7 years ago, he won a great victory in the north and destroyed the nomadic Wind Empire. 5 years ago, he went west and destroyed 19 small countries, establishing the first Celestial Empire protectorate of the West in history. 3 years ago, he went out to the sea to conquer the Wind Nation. Within 2 years, he pacified the Wind Nation and unified the world. After that, he created a unified currency and allowed merchants to travel freely. The entire Celestial Empire was full of life, but no one expected that a calamity would come and cause such a calamity. Lingtu's clear eyes looked up at the sky, where dark clouds rolled and thunder rumbled. He murmured, "Is this a calamity? What are those who are trying to destroy us?" In the sky, blood-red figures could be faintly seen. They were like machines, waving battle axes and iron hammers, crazily smashing the sky of the Pure Yang realm. Countless cracks appeared, and those meteors rained down, causing the ground to tremble and all living beings to perish. At the side, Prime Minister Fu Wuji said, "Your Majesty, those are the evils of the heavens, the calamity of all living beings. I don't know what they are, but they are controlling our fate. Send my order, invite the Grand Warlock here. I want to know, what are those rampaging in the sky? What right do they have to control the fate of our Celestial Empire? What right do they have?" Lingtu was very angry, but the meteors in the sky kept falling. After a loud bang, hundreds of royal guards were turned into ashes. The meteors were just a type of energy, and when they fell, they would explode with the power to burn the heavens and destroy the earth. Roar, in fact, the people on the ground could even hear the evil titans roar. Countless civilians squeezed together in despair, watching the scene of the apocalypse descending in the sky helplessly. The entire Ninyang City was being vaporized and bathed in fresh blood. However, no one could stop this. At this moment, the aged Grand Wizard in a white cloak walked over shakily and said respectfully, "Your Majesty, what are your orders? What is that thing in the air?" The Emperor asked. The Grand Wizard looked up at the sky, his aged eyes filled with helplessness. "The ancient divine weapon is not something that we can control. Your Majesty, please open the altar immediately and pray for the people." "Pray for blessings?" Ling Tu said angrily, "You want me to pray for blessings when all living beings are about to be destroyed?" I am the ruler of a country. Do I only have to pray for blessings? Prime Minister Fu Wuji understood the emperor's character better. He said in a low voice, Great Wizard, His Majesty needs to know the truth. He needs to know what the monster that destroyed our celestial empire is, and not blindly pray for blessings. Do you understand? The Grand Shaman let out a long sigh. Fine, men, prepare the instruments, I want to do a divination. Yes. An attendant brought over a huge brazier, and the great wizard knelt in front of it, throwing the goat bones into it one by one. Soon, green smoke rose up, and the great wizard began to close his eyes, chanting. Not long after, a golden light flashed across the sky and pierced through the heart of one of the monsters. Immediately after, the flames in the sky spun rapidly and turned into the figure of a mighty god of war. He held a golden longsword in his hand and cut the other monster into two. Soon, 3 other figures appeared and fought with the monster. Every strike carried the power of 1,000 caddies. Golden lightning flashed in the sky, looking extremely majestic. What is that? Emperor Ling too was stunned. The citizens of Ninyang City also looked up, their eyes wide and their mouths agape. They did not know what was happening, but at least they knew that the monsters who tried to destroy the world were being punished. The 5 figures in the sky were killing those monsters. Prime Minister Fu Wuji said excitedly, Your Majesty, we are saved. Those people, no, they must be gods, that's right, they must be gods. Only they can kill the ferocious beasts in the sky. It didn't take long for the 4 monsters to be slain, and the sky returned to its calm state. At that moment, the Grand Shaman raised his head and said, Your Majesty, I have divined that those 4 monsters are from the legendary primordial divine race. However, they have fallen, that is not important. Now, you must tell me, who are the 5 people who saved the celestial empire? The Grand Shaman said in a trembling voice, they are the gods of the celestial domain, they are powerful beyond all. I cannot read their names, but I know that the people of the world have given them a title, the 5 gods. The 5 gods? Ling Tu frowned and said, Fu Wuji, immediately send out troops to extinguish the fire in the city. Apart from that, the Ministry of Revenue will be in charge of rebuilding the city. There is another important thing to do. Immediately send people to Mount Li to mine the huge rocks. I want to build a statue of the 5 gods in Ninyang City. Remember what they look like. They must be lifelike. Do you understand? Yes. The Grand Shaman was unhappy. But Your Majesty, Ninyang City has always believed in the god of the southern tribe. Ling Tu's voice was cold as he said, Don't use your god to pressure me. I only believe in the god who saved the empire. Apart from that, the people of the world have also seen the scene of the 5 gods killing the evil beasts. The era of the old gods has passed. The future belongs to the new 5 gods. If you are not willing to continue to control the divine temple, then abdicate. I have many candidates. The Grand Shaman hurriedly shook his head and said, This subject is willing to swear loyalty to Your Majesty, even if I have to die 10,000 times. From then on, the entire Pure Yang domain began to believe in the 5 gods. Although people did not know the names of the 5 gods, they knew that one of them used a sword, one used a dual blade, and there were 2 other goddesses who used a sword, as well as a god who used a bow. 2 days passed. In an abandoned spiritual mountain in the southern divine domain, Tang Xiaoxi, Qin Yin, and the rest were resting on a tree trunk. There was not a single building in this spiritual mountain, but it was filled with fruit forests. Peach trees, plums, and bayberries were all ripe at this time. Swoosh, Lin Muyu's figure landed lightly on the tree trunk. He used his martial god's cloak to carry apples, plums, bayberries, and other fruits. He smiled and said, Eat, choose what you want. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi could not help but burst out laughing. When they were with Lin Muyu, they could always feel that kind of peace and relaxation. This was also one of the reasons why they loved him so deeply. Feng Jixing and Wei Chou did not stand on ceremony and ran over. Gods also needed to replenish their water. These 2 days, they had not slept or rested. They had long wanted to eat and pray to their 5 viscera temples. Qin Yin pinched a bayberry and tasted it. She could not help but frown and smile. So sour. Tang Xiaoxi also tasted the fruit with a smile. Wei Chou bit off half an apple and said, "We killed a total of 472 titans in 2 days and 2 nights. This news should reach the Gloom Palace soon. I wonder what Lei Luan will think when he hears this. Will he continue to send titans out to hunt for spiritual energy? If they give up, then the Dark Titans will not be able to increase their strength. I'm afraid Lei Luan will be angered to death this time. I'm just afraid he will be furious." Lin Muyu frowned and said, "It's fine here, but it's hard to say for Demon Emperor and Sister Xian. If they are caught by Lei Luan's main force, then it will be hard to say. Don't worry, we have the glazed lamp." Yes, if not for the glazed lamp, would not have agreed to this operation. Feng Jixing nibbled on an apple and said, We saved more than 100 planes in 2 days, but more than 30 planes were destroyed. Do you think this is a merit or a fault?" Lin Muyu said, "I don't manage order, I only manage fighting. You have to ask Xiao Yin this question." Qin Yin squinted her beautiful eyes and smiled. "Actually, the information given to me by the Mahayana heavenly law is not very accurate. The destruction of Beyond Heaven and the war between the 6 realms has long since reshaped the laws of heaven and earth. Right now, it is impossible to say whether it is a merit or a fault. The only thing we can do is to persevere in our beliefs and keep going." Feng Jixing smiled and said, "Looks like, the heavens also gave Her Highness a wordless book. Everything has to be comprehended by yourself." "Yes, it has always been like this." Lin Muyu said, "Eat quickly and continue to patrol after eating. Conserve our strength. If we include Demon Emperor and Sister Xian's results, we should have killed close to 1,000 titans. Lei Luan only has 700 or 800 titans under his control now. Perhaps he will launch a decisive battle against us soon. When that time comes, we will have to return to Mount Desheng to fight." Okay, the other 4 agreed. Palace of Gloom. Bang! Lei Luan crushed countless tiles with 1 foot. His blood-red eyes flashed as he said, "How many Titan warriors have not returned? According to the agreement, they should have returned a day ago, but, so far, only 700 Titans have returned. There are still 1,100 Titans that have not returned." The one who spoke was Keston, the second strongest of the Lei Luan race. In the main hall, a group of Titans raised their weapons angrily and roared. Lei Luan was filled with killing intent. He lifted the blood-red war hammer on his shoulder and said, "Gather our army and immediately charge to Mount Desheng. They want to take us down one by one? No way. I want them to know how terrifying the rage of the Titans is." "Yes, Chief." Chapter 1279. Dao is strong, but it may not be full. Yuan Shi is like the ancestor of all things, Zhan Shi seems to exist. Heaven and earth can last forever, because it does not give birth to itself, so it can live forever. Cangnan Province, Mount Ziwu, the temporary camp of the Longdan Army Camp. Not far from the barracks, in a vast forest, Situ Sun sat on a large rock, muttering to himself. His whole body seemed to be bathed in light. Although it was already late at night, fireflies were dancing around him, and the air was floating. A powerful tension was accumulating and waiting to be unleashed. Brother, not far away from him, Situ Shui, who was leading the horse, had a helpless look in her eyes. "Brother, are you going to have an epiphany?" Swoosh! A golden brilliance shrouded Situ Sun in the air. When he opened his eyes, he was surrounded by layers of golden ancient runes, like a wall that lingered. Situ Sun opened his eyes, and his clear gaze cut through the original chaos. The surface of his body was glowing, as if it was reforged. He slowly exhaled and said, "Shui, I'm going to leave, brother." Situ Shui's eyes were slightly red, and tears were swirling in her eyes. "Must you leave?" "Yes, the heaven realm needs me." Situ Sen's smile was very gentle. "Shui, haven't you always hoped that brother would achieve the heavenly Tao? Now, I have already understood the Tao. The Mahayana heavenly Tao is so deep and profound that I will never be able to fully understand it in my life. Moreover, the heaven realm is in a war, and Lin General and Her Highness need my meager strength. I don't know when I can come back." Situ Shui bit her red lips, "And I don't know when I can understand the Tao with my cultivation. Do you want me to stay in the mortal realm alone? I will come back." Situ Sun smiled faintly, looked back at the generals in the Longdan army camp, and said, "Fengshi, Bai Yin. Your subordinate is here. Commander, please instruct us." Situ Sun said, "Lin General will pass the position of commander to Wei Chou, and Wei Chou will pass the position to me. Today, I will be leaving the Shattered Cauldron world. The Longdan army camp is the National Defense Army, so all of you must take good care of it. After I leave, the commander of the Longdan army camp will be Situ Shui. All of you need to assist Shui seriously. Also, if you have any questions, you can ask Lu Bai and Si Kongyao." "Yes, Commander." The group of generals knelt down on one knee. Situ Sun stood up, and the golden pillar of light in the sky wreaked havoc. In the blink of an eye, it was about to take him away. However, at this moment, he suddenly stopped and said, "Right, there's one more thing I need to tell you." "What is it?" "Commander, please instruct us." Bai Yin said. "There's a young man called Chu Yun in the holy temple of Lanyan City. 1 year later, Bai Yin, you will personally go to the holy temple to bring Chu Yun to the Longdan army camp. Let him follow you. After I leave, you will enter the Yen nation to pacify the wolf tribe in the north and the wilderness in the south. When that time comes, you will bring Chu Yun along and teach him these 2 books. I'm leaving, take care." Whoosh! The light shot into the sky, and Situ Sen's figure also disappeared. However, 2 books were left on the big rock. One was the Art of Stars, and the other was the Star-Plucking Finger. Situ Shui walked forward and held the 2 books in her hands. Her heart was filled with a myriad of emotions. The continent's temporary peace did not mean that it would last forever. In the past half a year, there had been chaos everywhere. Although there were no major wars, there were endless small battles. It was clear that Situ Sun thought highly of Chu Yun. Otherwise, he wouldn't have passed on Lin Muyu and Chu Yao's absolute arts to him. Once Chu Yun learned this ability, what kind of legend would he become in the Shattered Cauldron realm in the future? Bai Yin took the 2 martial arts manuals and frowned. Lin General hasn't appeared in this world for a long time. I don't know what orders he has. Commander Sun left these 2 martial arts manuals for Chu Yun and asked me to bring him along. What does this mean? Situ Shui couldn't help but smile. Bai Yin, how old are you this year? 34. What about you, Fengshi? 37. The 2 generals were very surprised. They didn't know what Situ Shui was planning. Meanwhile, Situ Shui, the new commander of the Longdan army camp, took out the commander's seal of the Longdan army camp from the bag left behind by her brother. She held it in her hands and said, "Brother's meaning is not clear enough? 1 year later, we will start training Chu Yun. I might stay in the mortal world for 3 to 5 years, or even sooner. Once I ascend, the 2 of you will already be over 40 years old. Old generals who are over 40 will only think about concubines and peace. Where would they have the ambition to contribute to the country? Am I right?" Bai Yin and Fengshi were embarrassed. Bai Yin rubbed his nose and said, "Commander Shui's words are right, but..." General Fengxi and I at least have the heart to fight. What about 3 years later? What about 5 years later? Situ Shui smiled faintly. We have been fighting for many years and are used to seeing life and death. Even Lin General began to get tired of war. Don't tell me the few of us are not tired of it. People have to accept their old age. I think brother's meaning is very clear. When we are old, the next commander of the Longdan army camp will be Chu Yun. Does Lin General know about this? Bai Yin asked carefully. After all, he used to be Lin Muyu's bodyguard. His loyalty to Lin Muyu was self-evident. Although the Situ siblings were the core figures of the Longdan army camp, they were not Lin Muyu. This matter had to be clarified. Lin General knows. Situ Shui said softly, this is also Lin General's intention. Don't you two know Chu Yun's identity? Chu Yun. What is Chu Yun's identity? Bai Yin and Fengxi asked. Chu Yun is the reincarnation of Chu Huai, one of the 4 heroes of Lan Yen. Chu Huai died in battle 14 years ago and was reincarnated as Chu Yun a year later. So, Chu Yun is 13 years old this year. Is that clear enough? Both of them took a deep breath. Fengxi cupped his fists and said, it's actually, like this, it's really incredible. The news was confirmed by Lin General after he investigated the Book of Reincarnation in the Ghost Realm. What we can do is to cultivate Chu Yun, but we don't need to spoil him too much. We must treat him strictly. He has been personally trained by Deacon Qin Yen. His martial arts foundation has long been incomparably solid. Now that he has been improved by star arts and star plucking finger, his future achievements are probably unimaginable. Yes. Bai Yin cupped his fists and said, I understand. I will do my best to complete this task. That's good. Situ Shui mounted her horse and said, brother has already left. We don't need to guard here anymore. Let's go back to camp. General Fengxi, go and urge Marshal Ding Shi to send next month's provisions earlier. Also, the soldiers need to eat meat once every 3 days. Please ask him to help us open a pig farm around the camp. Yes, I understand. Bai Yin, go to Lan Yen City tomorrow and see Chu Yun. Teach him the star plucking finger and the first layer of star arts. Yes. Amidst the sound of hooves, the crowd in the forest dispersed in the blink of an eye. Peace was restored. On Mount Deshang, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. A man descended from the sky, stepping on the air. With every step he took, thunder could be clearly heard. Within 5 steps, rays of golden light gathered and formed a majestic armor around his body. This was the first time he had transformed into a god. It was the crucial moment when the divine power of the rule and his body began to fuse. After 5 steps, he had already changed into a set of dazzling golden armor. With a low grunt, a golden spear appeared in his hand. It was an awe-inspiring sight. The Sky God, a second-tier superior god, one of the secondary main gods. Swoosh! An arrow of light soared into the sky, aimed at the god who had just set foot in the divine realm. Situ Sen's eyes turned cold. He waved his spear naturally and knocked the arrow away with a clang. With his sharp eyes, he could see the outline of every brick and tile in the hall of Deshang, as well as the breathing of the people. He could even see the lazy young man in the pavilion of the hall of Deshang. It was the previous commander of the Longdan army camp, Wei Chou. The arrow just now was also Wei Chou's masterpiece. However, he did not use his full strength to shoot. Otherwise, the Ho-Yi Bao's edge might not be easily blocked by Situ Senior, Chou. Situ Sen laughed heartily. Wei Chou's face turned green. Motherf asterisk Ker, are you trying to annoy me the moment you come? Ha ha ha, how are you? Situ Sen jumped down and patted Wei Chou's shoulder, greeting him like a brother. I was worried that you would accidentally die in the God War. Do you think I'll die so easily? Wei Chou grinned and said, "Let's go. Don't talk so much. Lin General and the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor are waiting for you, the Sky God, to come to the Divine Realm." "Oh, let's go." The 2 figures landed outside the hall and walked into the Hall of Dashang. The glazed tiles in the hall were shining brightly, reflecting the majestic armor on the 2. Both were titled gods. Therefore, they wore cloaks on their backs after their divine transformation. However, Wei Chou was a first-tier mid-god and his cloak was azure blue, while Situ Sen's cloak was crimson, the color of a high god. The hall was filled with gods. Lin Muyu, Qin Yin, Shi Yan, Tang Xiaoxi and the others were at the front. They smiled at Situ Sen as a form of greeting. Situ Sen knew the rules. He stepped forward, cupped his fists at the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and said, "Sky God Situ Sen pays his respects to the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. I am willing to serve the Eastern Divine Realm." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor smiled and said, "Sky God, what is your ability?" "The God of Wind can control the wind." "What about you?" "Sky control." Situ Sen's gaze was calm as he gently waved his palm in front of him. Immediately, the tiles beneath his feet, which had been damaged during the battle and hadn't been repaired in time, flew up and floated along with Situ Sen's domain. The crowd was slightly shocked. Situ Sen's power was no less than Feng Jixing's. He was even stronger than Wei Chou. Xiao smiled and said, "Very good. The Eastern Divine Realm has gained another great helper. Sky God, get in line. Lei Luan's Titan tribe is about to arrive. We need your power." "Yes." Situ Sen cupped his fists respectfully. Then, he got in line between Lin Muyu and Tang Xiaoxi. Tang Xiaoxi pouted and almost wanted to punch him. "Lin General, your subordinate is here." He smiled and said. Lin Muyu nodded and smiled, "Is the Longdan army camp ready?" "Yes." "Lin General, what is the Lei Luan tribe that the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor mentioned?" "Your subordinate has just arrived and doesn't know anything. It is an evil force that can destroy the world. The upcoming battle will decide who will be the master of the Heaven Realm in the future." Situ Sen's gaze became serious. "Yes, your subordinate understands." Chapter 1280. In the illusory pool, streams of light shuttled through the starry universe, bringing with them streams of piercingly cold shock waves. Many spiritual mountains began to sway slowly. Shi Yan frowned. "They're very fast. Looks like Lei Luan is determined to fight us." Perfect timing. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor clenched his fists. Perfect timing. You don't have to do anything in this battle. Just use your holy martial power to raise the gods' battle prowess. You're the key to this battle." Lin Muyu nodded. I understand." Eva said, "Do we need to move the battlefield forward? If we were to fight on Mount Dashang, I'm afraid that Mount Dashang would become a mess." "No, we can only fight at Mount Dashang," Lin Muyu said decisively. "Why?" Eva was puzzled. Lin Muyu said calmly, "Sister Eva, think about it. The Heavenly Sound Scroll is in the Hall of Great Accomplishment. It's our foundation. Our ultimate goal in this battle is to protect the Heavenly Sound Scroll. Once the battlefield moves, the Heavenly Sound Scroll might be affected. Nuwa's power was destroyed in the realm beyond heaven, and she has less than 40% of her power left. I'm afraid she won't be able to protect the Heavenly Sound Scroll." Shi Yan nodded. "That's right. We can only fight at Mount Dashang. It's up to the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor if he's willing." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor waved his hand. "Go ahead. We can rebuild after you've destroyed everything. Mount Dashang is a rich place. We can afford to destroy 10,000 of them, let alone one." Extravagant. 6 hours later, the oppressive atmosphere in the distance and the sense of pressure from the impending battle of the gods almost suffocated the gods. They could no longer stay in the Hall of Great Accomplishment. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Shi Yan, Dongming, and the other gods were already waiting in the sky above Mount Great Accomplishment. Under the seal of the barrier, it was impossible to travel within the range of Mount Great Accomplishment. They could only rely on their own speed to gain an advantage. In the Palace of Great Accomplishment, Lin Muyu was sitting lazily on the glazed tiles. Feng Jixing, Wei Chou, and Situ Sun were also sitting at the side with their legs crossed. On the other hand, it was Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Chu Yao, and the other goddesses who could not sit down. After all, in their divine transformation state, they were basically wearing dresses. In fact, Tang Xiaoxi was wearing a short skirt and leather armor. Once they sat down, they would be able to see everything. Master. Ria held the Star Stalker sword in her hand and frowned. I'm a little nervous. Don't be nervous. Lin Muyu gently stroked her hair and smiled. While the Titans are strong, they are not fast enough. As long as you can control the timing of your attack, you will definitely be unscathed. Remember, use the Star Stalker sword to stab their eyes and let the others kill them after they are blinded. You are only responsible for weakening the Titan's combat ability. Other than that, do not stray more than 5 miles away from me, or else the power of the holy martial arts will not be able to fuse with your strength. Yes, Master. I will remember that. Situ Sun tilted his head and smiled. Lin General, where did you get such an obedient disciple from? Are there any more? No, don't even think about it. Hee, General Sun, have you not married or had children all these years in the mortal realm? Lin Muyu asked. No, I will ascend to become a god sooner or later, so I have never thought about having children. As for a wife, the servants in the mortal realm will take good care of her, so there is no need for me to worry. Tang Xiaoxi smiled. So you plan to come to the celestial realm to court the goddesses? Situ Sun rubbed his nose. I do want to, but it seems like all the goddesses in the celestial realm are taken, or I am not qualified to court them. Sigh. I should just prepare for war. The atmosphere became more and more oppressive. The gods were no longer joking around and had all entered their godly transformation state. The sound of the Titans breaking through the enchantment of the celestial realm could be heard coming from afar. They were coming. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor held his battle axe and looked down at the ground. You will guard the top of the Hall of Great Accomplishment and wait for an opportunity to strike. Okay. Waves of violent auras were getting closer and closer. Lin Muyu let out a low roar and a new layer of armor covered her body. A crimson cloak fluttered behind her, and the power of the holy martial kept surging around her arms. Lightning flowed and spread out like a tidal wave, supporting everyone in the celestial realm with the power of the holy martial, greatly stimulating their potential. She rose into the air and stood 100 meters above the Hall of Great Accomplishment. Without drawing her sword, Lin Muyu said in a low voice, Wei Chou, stay by my side. It will be convenient for me to protect you. The other gods can attack at will. Yes. Along with the rumbling sounds, many figures appeared in the sky. They were the evil Titans led by Lei Luan. In the next moment, the Titans launched their attack. Battle axes and hammers came crashing down like meteorites into the celestial realm's camp. For a moment, the sky was filled with godly light and cold explosions. Situ Sun and Feng Jixing had already raised their weapons and fought with several Titans. Meanwhile, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Dongming, Shi Yan, and Qin Yin blocked off the east, south, west, and north directions. Countless righteous gods flew up one after another and faced the black mass of attackers in the sky. The Titan tribe led by Elder Tai Lon also appeared, attacking the Thunder Luan tribe from the flank. For a moment, the air was filled with the shockwaves from the battle and the pressure from the domain. The entire space seemed to be distorted. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Wei Chou kept shooting with his bow. Although he couldn't ensure that every attack was fatal, it was enough as the only powerful long-range attacker on the battlefield. His role was to suppress and reinforce the enemy with firepower. Compared to Wei Chou's range of nearly 2 kilometers, Lin Muyu's attack range was much closer. Although the AO sword technique was powerful and domineering, its attack range was limited. Its sword aura could only kill powerful enemies within 300 meters. If it was any further, its destructive power would obviously be insufficient. Hitting a target that was too far away would be a waste of divine power and time. Boom! Lei Luan's hammer smashed the head of a titan from the Tai Lan tribe. He looked forward with bloodshot eyes and roared, "Break through their defense circle, destroy the Hall of Great Accomplishment, and destroy the last fortress of the realm of the gods." The evil titans roared furiously, but the 7 luminaries demon emperor charged forward with his battle axe. He opened his left palm and with a low roar, he activated the 7 glorious stars transformation. Stars rained down from the sky continuously, forcing a group of titans to raise their arms and use shields to defend themselves. For a moment, the sky was very noisy. However, the titans were too strong. The 7 luminaries demon emperor's area of effect martial arts technique was obviously unable to kill them instantly. He was so angry that he could only charge down with his battle axe and directly split a titan into 2. Kill! 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 Elder Tai Lan's titan race suffered heavy losses as he roared in anger. More than half of them died in less than 30 minutes. Not only did the evil titans absorb the spiritual weapons of the Spirit Mountain, but they were also strengthened by the god cores of the gods from the realm beyond heaven. The strength of the two sides was completely disproportionate, and they were no longer as strong as they were before. Elder Tai Lan, lead your tribesmen and retreat to the Hall of Great Accomplishment. It's not a good time to attack. Lin Muyu roared loudly. Under Tai Lan's command, the outermost forces started to retreat. Lei Luan naturally gave the order to attack fiercely and started to invade the eastern celestial realm's defense circle. Some of the titans had already appeared within Lin Muyu's attack range. Their attacks were overbearing and ruthless. Their battle axes and spears clashed chaotically. In the blink of an eye, many righteous gods had already fallen. The war of the gods was even more cruel and merciless than the war of the mortal world. Which of these fallen righteous gods wasn't an overlord of a dimension? They were legends that had been passed down for hundreds or even thousands of years. However, under the attack of the evil titans, these false reputations couldn't provide them any protection. Swoosh, a graceful figure shot through the group of titans at an astonishing speed, and as the Star Stalker sword slashed through, some of the titans were blinded, while others had their energy shields too thick for Rhea to hit. However, Rhea adhered to her master's teachings and never got into a fight. She retreated as soon as she made contact, and many of the titans were unable to land a hit on her. In the sky, the clouds were raging as bolts of lightning struck down. It was Feng Jixing's attack, and not far behind him, the sky god Situ Sen's spear slammed into the void beneath his feet. Instantly, layers of power came crashing down, and the appearance of the titans were already deformed from the pressure. As Situ Sen pressed down with his palm, dozens of titans were twisted into a metal ball, and all that was left was their energy that had nowhere to go. Unknowingly, Feng Jixing and Situ Sen's performance on the battlefield was too eye-catching, and they had almost become one of the leaders on the battlefield. Roar! A titan dodged Feng Jixing's sword and swung his axe at Feng Jixing's shoulder from behind. Feng Jixing was controlling the wind and could not care less, so he could only rely on his own shield to block the attack. But before the titan's axe could land, 2 sword chi pierced through his chest. It was Lin Muyu's proud sword art. He raised his right hand and shot out 2 sword chi. The sword chi was as hot and dazzling as the sun in the sky, and it pierced through his opponent in an instant. Following that, Lin Muyu continued to attack, and any titan that came within 300 meters of him would not last more than 5 seconds. Compared to him, Wei Chou was not any less useful. The Ho Yi Bao had already shot thousands of arrows in the short time it took for a joss stick to burn. Every arrow hit its target, greatly delaying and disrupting the invasion of the evil titans. But there were still too many titans. Under the continuous and fierce attacks, the outer defenses of the celestial realm began to crumble. Even Shi Yan, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, Dong Ming, and the others had more or less sustained injuries. It was completely a battle of attrition. Guardians, go to battle. After Lin Muyu gave the order, the 8 guardians in the main hall flew out and acted as one of the outer defenses. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had consumed more than half of their divine powers, and the gods were also almost at their limits. Every attack of the titans was equivalent to an attack condensed from the power of the dimension. Even a god would find it difficult to resist. Be careful, the eastern defense line has been breached. Accompanied by the roar of the 7 luminaries demon emperor, a female figure was rapidly burned to ashes by the titan's divine power. Zhuoye, the god of life of the northern celestial realm, was blocking the fierce attacks of 3 titans by herself. Finally, she could not withstand the vigorous flame power. Zhuoye. Dong Ming's eyes were bloodshot. Suddenly, a force attacked her from behind. Dong Ming immediately cried out in pain and vomited blood as she fell toward Mount Dashang. The combined attack of 800 evil titans was too powerful. It had far exceeded the original expectations of Lin Muyu and the 7 luminaries demon emperor. You're tuning in to the Unparalleled SwordWill YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.